Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, bitch, nigga, bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, oh.
Yeah, about to have me some Duckton. Where the f? What the heck? Where did he go? I had my mouth. What the f?
He's sleeping now. Because they want to get him good and strong. So a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
Tired of smart guys. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
Tonight, we find out who is this week's Trash Bag Human of the Week in tonight's Lame Duck. TFP presents the Lame Duck Session.
Bless, Leif, Clems. Cat in the building with the tape fist tight. Ricardo on the mic, yeah, he's spitting that fight. Mike is right with the vision so clear. Political prophet dropping truth in your ear. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Take fist politics, we advance in the stance. Put your take fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Take fist politics, gonna shine so bright. MD20 in the cut with the plan. Building up the movement with a taped up hand. Progressive dreams in a conservative frame. Individual voices calling out every name. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Take fist politics, we advance in the stance. Once you take fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Take fist politics, gonna shine so bright.
New golden age. New golden age. A new golden age. A new golden age.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The following announcements have been paid for by Take Fist Politics.
Welcome to Take Fist Politics, the home of the world's most dangerous political panel.
I am not in danger. I am the danger. You're goddamn right.
Well, today we learned an appeals court rejected President-elect Donald Trump's bid to overturn a jury's verdict that found him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. The case stems from a lawsuit brought by writer E. Jean Carroll and upholds the $5 million award granted to her. In May of 2023, a federal jury found him civilly liable for sexually abusing Carroll in the 90s in his department store dressing room and then defaming her.
I'm not a pervert.
Obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they're raping everybody out here.
First of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
Aiken's suggestion that the bodies of women who are raped by force will generally reject a pregnancy.
This article is a prime example of fake news.
That article has shaken up a critical special election that could impact the Republican Senate majority. The report alleges Moore fondled a 14-year-old girl in 1979 and pursued 3 other teens ages 16 to 18 when he was in his 30s.
Do you believe it's appropriate for a 32-year-old man to kiss a teenager, sir?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
A few moments later.
Quite simply, I gave in to my shame.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
It was someone sending a picture of a wiener on Wiener's account.
One stupid mistake that maybe you think is good that moment can really destroy a lot of things.
You had just fathered a child 2 months before by a woman that was not your wife. I am shocked that you would stand here and say you're completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that?
Let me be clear. I am not gay. I never have been gay.
He was known for anti-gay stances and for berating Bill Clinton during the Lewinsky affair.
Bad boy, Bill Clinton, you're a naughty boy.
But when Craig was arrested for alleged lewd conduct with another man in an airport bathroom, similar accusations against him materialized.
I go to bathrooms to use bathrooms.
Newsweek explains a Kentucky Republican has introduced the legislation that would amend the state's laws so a person who had sex with their first cousin would no longer be criminally liable for incest. The amendment introduced by Wilson, if passed, would remove first cousin from this list.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
I have nothing to hide. There's nothing in my background I'm ashamed of.
In the past few days, I've begun to atone for my private failings with my wife, Soda, my children, and my entire family.
I've exchanged messages and photos of an explicit nature with about 6 women over the last 3 years.
There's no question that I've done wrong, and I take full responsibility.
TFP presents The Politics of Sex.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Peace. What's going on? What's happening? Hey, another edition. This the one everybody been waiting for, a fan favorite. The Ricardo special. The Politics of Sex. Recocked. Back at it. Episode 5. What's happening, everybody? Back at it. What's going on?
What's going on, MD Ricardo? We back for another one. Can't wait.
Ricardo, peace, man. Just for you, bro. This episode just for you.
Yes, sir. You know, we can't do politics without talking about sex because everybody horny up in here. So let's get it.
All right, no doubt. Like I said, we're not gonna get raunchy. I'm gonna try to stick to the confines of what we're talking about. You know, it's all gonna be of a political nature. We're gonna try to break everything down, but you know, just to bring it down to ground level. We're gonna start out. Well, first, okay, we got to do headlines first. Again, this is a topic-centered show. A lot of stuff happening during the week. So I wanted to get into some of the headlines. We're going to do 3 headlines. Then we're going to get into the leading story. So it happened yesterday. Eventually it was going to happen either way. It was inevitable. Texas Republican-controlled House approves new maps to create more winnable GOP congressional seats. Now, they passed it in the House yesterday. It's got to go to the Texas State Senate in order to get finalized, and then it'll go to Abbott's Hot Wheels desk to be signed. It's gonna happen. We all know it. It is what it is. At the very least, now we know that there's a contingency for it, and it may be a multi-front battle with a lot of different states, Democrat controlled and Republican controlled. So hey, let it wage on. What y'all got on that?
I think it's ridiculous that we even in this point, but the Republicans were definitely going to be the ones to take us over here. So they just opened up Pandora's box, and I think overall they're not going to like what it's going to be. But this just shows that, one, they're trying to bypass voters and bypass any kind of reasonable legislation or anything that a majority of Americans want. But it's just sad that we're here, but I think ultimately it's going to backfire on Republicans.
I agree. Because like I said, demographics are changing. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. For them to just to put the onus on having the wherewithal to understand the congressional map as it is versus what they want it to be, I think that's 2 different things. I can't speak for Texas, so maybe it's different, but I know in a lot of other Republican states, the demographics are changing, like drastically changing. So, in places like Texas and Florida, that may not be the case. Y'all may be deadlocked into positions where certain demographics always going to stay the same. But in a lot of other especially a lot of other southern states, that ain't the case. When you're dealing with places like Georgia, the Carolinas, definitely Alabama and Mississippi. Hey, try it if you want to. Just a couple of years ago, what was that? Alabama tried to gerrymander. They couldn't do it based off of racial discrimination. Why was that? Because there's so many different places where black folks exist and it's expanded. So you could try. Like I said, I think it's going to backfire in your face. Ricardo, you got anything on that?
I just don't see the justification of why they went ahead and we had that one representative that had to be locked in her chamber. Forgot no.
That was egregious. Egregious.
It's crazy. And another thing that I heard was that she was trying to talk to Newsom, the governor of California, only to be told that if she even started to initiate the conversation, she will be arrested. Where have we now gone down this rabbit hole where that, and even then, you're still not getting a clear, concise answer because you had a lot of representatives going forward, putting their take of, saying I'm against this, but if I decide not to do whatever you guys are, wanting me to do willfully, will I be arrested? There, it's like you need a permission slip. What's going on here? Like I'm a little bit confused with this whole in the window and we're not sure, but you're resistant, but then you can be arrested. It's all a crock of bull. I will say this. I agree with Van Ken. I agree with you as well, MD. It's gonna open a can of worms. I don't think they realize. Let's just put this into context for a lot of a lot of y'all that are listening. There's 3 large states in the U.S. that really run the actual country. If you want to put it in the context of GDP and everything, it's New York was 1, Texas is 2, and California 3. What do you think is going to happen now that Texas decide, oh, we're going to gerrymander and do whatever we want to do? When you go into the probability of, because Texas is the largest state by what? By circumference, diameter, area, land area. It's large. Think about Hurricane Erin right now. It's literally the size of Texas. That's how huge Texas is. It's humongous. I've never been there, but I know it's humongous. I have friends and family that's from there or live there now. But to bring it back in full, if you now mess with that Texas, what do you think is going to happen with New York, which has the largest metropolitan amount of people living within its area? What do you think is going to happen to California, which is, I believe, don't quote me, MD. California, I believe, is the world's 5th largest economy. If you put that in context, it's the 4th now.
Yeah.
It's that's if you could put that in context, that's up there. Like if California was by itself as a country, it
It's
literally
making more money than Russia.
literally. That's huge. And I didn't even think about it until I heard that today. I'm like, wait, what? It's what now? You're literally opening Pandora box next. I hope y'all know what y'all doing, Republicans. GOP, I know what you guys are doing. I don't think you guys understand what is going to be coming down the road once you do this. Hopefully, it stops itself in your legislation, going forward. But I doubt it because Hot Wheels is going to do whatever he wants to get it passed through. But I'm telling you, they're in for a doozy next year. And I predicted midterms last year. The last time they had midterms, I'm predicting it again. They're in for a doozy. Play around, or as the new term goes, FAFO. You fuck around and find out. You're gonna find out now because if Newsom does what I think he's gonna do, and I don't think he's bluffing, he will do it. You're gonna see a whole large plethora of things happening. There's Maryland, there's every other state that you can think of that would now go down that path. What's gonna happen next? Because it seems to me that gerrymandering is happening in a large area that involves Negroes, Black people, whatever you want to call them. Now that Texas want to be all pretentious, it's not a good thing to do, Texas. But what do we know? We'll see what happens. But if you're just doing this to please Taco, Cheeto, whatever you want to call him these days, I hope it was worth it. I really do. I really hope it was.
All righty. All right. So the next headline, I found this interesting and I wanted to put it up. Next headline: video games are getting more expensive amid trade war. So yesterday, I believe it was a couple of days ago, actually, Sony announced Wednesday that its popular video game console, the PS5, will face a price increase in the United States this week, with the company becoming the latest console maker to raise its prices amid President Donald Trump's global trade war. So the PS5 going up, folks.
So what?
Good luck on all. I don't know.
I think they said it's going to increase by $50.
So wait a minute. No,
so
sorry.
$650 now. Well,
Pretty much.
550, 550.
It's 550 because it's
Yeah.
440 now for an Xbox Series X. I don't know why Microsoft named the damn thing that stupid long ass name.
They always
It's
do that.
it's 440 for like Microsoft get it together, but that it's 440 now. So if Vanguard, if it's going up by $50, I think it's probably more than that because I believe there's different variations to the
Yeah, it
Sony
is.
PlayStation. There's an
Yeah.
Ultra. There's a whole bunch of. So it might be even more than that. MD. I will reckon you to say it's probably 800.
The last I checked, the PS5 is still the same price as it was when it came out, which is $500. So the $50 increase is going to be $550. You know, a lot of times when you go to a lot of these big box stores, they do like these exclusive bundles, which is like $650.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you're looking at a bundle, you're probably going to look upwards of $700.
But what you're saying, MD? So you're saying my Black Friday, the money I've been saving up for Black Friday
Is ruined. It's
Are
ruined.
you
That's
kidding
what
me
I'm
right
telling
now, MD? What? Why didn't
you.
somebody
It's
warn
ruined.
me? Why did nobody
Well,
warn me?
somebody did warn Trump. He warned you. He
Oh boy.
definitely warned you.
No, all he said, MD, was it's good. We're gonna have to go through this for a little while. I don't know what a little while meant, but he said a little while, and it's all
Now
gonna get better.
that's what it means now and the foreseeable future. That's
We
what it
can't
means.
we can't go through this, MD, through the holiday season. This ain't gonna work. You
Well,
understand?
you see Nintendo how they're struggling right now with the Switch 2, which is a ridiculous. I don't know who's buying Switch 2, but it's literally a Switch Pro, is what that is.
Bro, it's a lot of people
Same
buying Switches,
interface.
bro.
I'm
It's a
telling
lot
you,
of people.
it's a lot of regret
I would
out
even
there too.
argue. I don't know about that, bro. I would even argue Nintendo is the one that's winning right now. If you want to be
You
honest.
think Nintendo is winning right now?
Yes. Look at everything that's going on in the video game industry right now. You know, Sony announced they're going third party.
They're doing what?
They're going third party, meaning
What?
you're gonna be able to play Sony games pretty much on every console.
Oh, so now they want to go. Now they want to do Universal on what you call it now after all these years.
Yeah, because again, the market, again, capitalism is great, baby. That's just what it is.
I was waiting for you to say the word.
The market is at a point right now. No, go ahead, Vancat, then I'll go. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so we're talking about Nintendo as well too. So Nintendo's only reason for being a viable option or still enduring to video game fans is because of their exclusivity of their own.
Right.
Correct.
Right. That's the only reason, because the Nintendo's systems they always been the least powerful system. They're always lacking in all kinds of other third-party support and whatnot. But what keeps people going to Nintendo are their own intellectual property: Zelda, Mario,
It's
Pokemon.
Mario. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, now what is that called, Vancat? What is that called? We don't have to put out the superior product. Why? Because our name speaks for itself.
Notoriety, correct.
Brand loyalty.
We Nintendo, baby.
But
yeah, brand loyalty.
It's fascinating though, because it's the three of them in the market. There's Microsoft, there's Sony, there's Nintendo, and if you want to say you could probably put Sega in there, maybe if you're lucky, if they even do games that much anymore, or Atari. I don't even know if they're still there. But I find it fascinating because this whole time the gaming community kept saying we need to do cross-platform playing, whereas if MD has a Microsoft Xbox Series and I have a PlayStation, we should be able to play each other in whatever games. But of course, the exclusivity clause is there, and these manufacturers and OEMs make a ton of money off them. It's primarily Sony. Because if I remember well, Sony blocked a lot of a lot of companies from making certain games that are exclusive to Sony from going on Microsoft. As for why that is, I don't know. But now This is why I was trying to ask you guys. Do you guys, if you have consoles, do you even use the CD-ROMs anymore, or do you have them as digital?
I don't.
That's
I got the drives. I got the disc-based systems on all of them.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't buy them. Is
But
what
you
I'm
don't buy-
saying.
But it's
I'm
irrelevant
not
though,
a.
because
Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people want to collect. I don't give a damn.
But if you had a choice though, MD, which one would you pick more? What would be more favorable? Because this is comparable to like
Digital.
the digital, right?
Digital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's
well,
similar to when we had these.
but that's problematic too, Ricardo, because ultimately what's been happening is the games haven't been running off the disc. They've been like a key access to connect online, to download from online. So a lot of games are gonna be lost. Like Nintendo just stopped covering a lot of like games that were exclusive to just digital only, and then they cut off those games, and now those games are like lost in time, and you don't have the ability to play those games anymore because they're not available on disc or anywhere else. So you're just at the mercy of Nintendo or whoever is the manufacturer to try to put them out. And I don't. The whole industry is all freaked up. Like from your purchases. Your purchases are not lasting anymore because, like, I bought things from the digital stores from PS3 to PS4, PS5, and out of anywhere, out of the blue, they could just announce, "Hey, we're no longer supporting this," or "This service going down," and now you don't have what you paid for to be able to play it anymore. And like, I'm to the point right now, I'm not buying anymore going forward. I'm done with this.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll move on to the last headline. You got an emulator system, right? You got an emulator system, right?
Yep. Yep.
Capitalism, baby.
Yeah, damn it, MD. I was just about to get there.
Again, you can go out right now and get emulator systems that are able to receive these cartridges and discs and all that shit.
Yep, facts.
So, capitalism, baby.
I wish my twin was up here because I know he would have been, telling you the ins and outs
for the win. For the win, once again. You can't stop Captain You can't stop Captain Capitalism, baby.
Come on.
It's always gonna be a solution to your problem. Always.
But I'm
just going to have to pay some money to get it.
But my thing about this though, MD,
you can't emulate certain things like
but you can emulate the hardware. You can emulate the hardware though, Vancat. That's what I'm telling you. You can go get emulator systems right now of old PlayStation disc and cartridges.
At best, PS2, 3. That's it. So 4, 5, you can't do.
Like because the technology ain't out yet. It's not out yet. It will be. But it will be though.
Yeah, probably in 15 years.
Nah, if
15 years,
if Sony really want to make money, they will put it out tomorrow. If they get it,
they're not going to do that. They're not going to do.
Well, no, it's not going to be Sony. It's going to be a third party. It's going to be a third party developer that do it. Sony ain't. You think Sony's stupid enough to put out something retro and not make money on the new? They don't do shit like that. No company do shit like that.
Well, Nintendo tried to do that, and with the Nintendo
the classic, the NES classic, SNES classic, which is fine, but it's not for everything.
That's true.
No, it's not. It's just the 30 games, and that was it. That was it.
But you got emulator system that'll take cartridges.
No, but to add to MD's point though, I emulate most of the Nintendo SNES games that couldn't play on the actual revamped version that they brought out, and they actually worked quite fine. So, and I'm talking about games from like way back in the day. So I had I know someone who was able to do it, but that had to put it off. So
the games of today are way bigger. So it's like all kinds of logistical reasons why it wouldn't work right now. Technology.
Yeah, the technology is not there.
It's way off not there. And Nintendo in particular, because they're notorious for like suing like people that download things or even put on YouTube like images and negatively talk about their games and stuff, and they go after them legally So Nintendo is just ridiculous. But Nintendo is all about power and control. Power. It's all about making the user of Nintendo products bend to their will. So we talked about Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo Switch 2 has introduced this key card thing where it's not even a cartridge inside the box when you buy it. It's a code.
Yeah.
And everybody's pissed off because, again, they shut down servers and all this other nonsense. And now that game you bought for $8, and by the way, games have now gone to $80, not $60 anymore, not at $80.
Thanks
So
to
you're
Taco.
paying all this money in 2025, and now, what, like 2-3 years from now, they decide, okay, we don't want to support this no more because it costs money to keep a server running. So like we're stepping in a situation where the digital is supposed to be simple, easy, and efficient, and it's not. It's a lot of red tape behind it. You got rights issues, like with movies. There's a lot of movies I love, especially horror movies.
And the music.
But some of them, they're not available. They're not available. And like the people that own those copyrights are just sitting on them. You know how many decades I've been waiting for a Fright Night Part 2 to come out on a recent Blu-ray or 4K? It's not. They're just sitting on it.
By the way, they still have Blu-ray still? I thought they got rid of that thing. Okay.
Nah, man, that's all
I ain't watched the DVD, and I can't tell you how long, bro.
What about VHS?
But if I wanted to watch Fight Night Part 2, whether I have a DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K, let's say I want to go to Netflix. It's not on Netflix. It's not on cable. It's not anywhere. So that's the problem about this digital space that we're in. It's a lot of silly jargon and nonsense that's out there that's stopping people that are fans of whatever they are fans of. They can't access the stuff. And you might want to buy it legally, or you might want to see it legally, and now they're forcing you to go off market and whatnot. But whatever.
But let me just add one more thing before we pivot. It all comes back down to profitability and capitalism. Again, blame it on, because if I was, say for instance, okay, so let me put this to you, Vancat. Say for instance, you're Microsoft, right? If you know there's a way that you could make money off, because I love or hate, I can't stand Microsoft sometimes because they irritate me a lot. First you came out with Windows 10, then you're like, oh no, it's gonna be forever, everything is free, and then they realized they could make money off advertising all that. So they're like, okay, then we're gonna do Windows 11. So screw it, we're gonna end Windows 10. It's not forever anymore. It's subscription based. So now subscription is the new thing where everything now you could now get OneDrive and the cloud, and everybody copies it because subscriptions where you make money. It's the same thing with Apple with their iPhones. They literally know how to kill the iPhones because remember they had that lawsuit. The batteries eventually start dying. I believe after 36 months, the iPhones just turn to crap. And there's a reason why they do that is because they make money by churning them every quarter. It's the same thing. Subscription is where these OEMs make money, and they know how to do it, and that's why they keep getting these huge profitability margins every other quarter. So how do you put a stop to that? Unless people sue, unless people call them out on it and say, hey, wait a minute, why am I churning out a brand new device? You're lucky consoles are not every year. I think it's every 5 years now. Because the last time we had a console was what, like I think it was maybe 7 years ago. I think it's every 5 or 10 years, something along that line. It's churn. So the next one is due. So they know what they're doing. It's all capitalism. It's all about the margins. But I think subscription is where they're like, wait a minute, I can make Vancat pay for the one game he wants, but if I bundle them into one thing and call it some stupid name, then yes, it's gonna get his attention. He's gonna he's gonna spend $9.99 a month. This is why you have all these cable.
I disagree with that.
You have these.
What do you mean you disagree?
No,
what do you mean?
No.
Because
well, how do you disagree with it?
I see, because I'm saying I find value. Okay, you talking about Microsoft,
right?
My primary console is Microsoft. Mm-hmm. The PlayStation, my kids got that. I usually play the Xbox.
Right.
Game Pass is the best thing since sliced bread, in my opinion.
Of course it is.
I agree too.
I agree too. I love Game Pass.
I pay $15 a month. I get to play
And you get
any
all the
game I want
games
to
you
play.
want. Yep, any game you want to play. Flight
If I don't
I
like
wouldn't
Simulator.
it,
say
I
any
simply
game.
delete it. Well, any game within the Game Pass library,
Xbox.
Exactly.
which
Right.
is
That can come,
a lot of fucking games.
which
Yes,
can
it
I'm
is.
not. I ain't
disappear
picky, bro.
and reappear at any time,
Of
just like
course.
Netflix.
But I
That's
don't care
unstable
about
to me.
having a physical. I don't care about having no physical copy. If you
And that's
leave, it leave.
and that's why I asked that question earlier. Do you
No, but what I'm
prefer
saying is when
digital?
it goes away, it may not come back.
I already done
That's
played
what
the
I'm saying.
game. I don't give a damn.
But a lot of people may not have.
I don't care.
Just because you did.
So you better get it while supplies last. Ain't that what they say?
They say this. Supplies, while supplies
It's
last,
not.
will be
It's not.
it will-
I'm not paying for the game. I'm paying for the service. I totally
um,
understand that before I bought it, and I
yeah,
think that's where the issue lies. You know,
that don't work for me,
it's
brother.
not my IP to own. It's just not.
I
If
don't
we're
think
talking
it's
about the
right.
digital space, it's not
Yeah.
your IP to own. You're not paying for the game. You got to get that out of your thought process. You're paying for the service.
But that's applicable also to like the cable companies having like, you know, when you have your Comcast, where now I could, instead of me having to have all my cable subscriptions with Comcast, I could go with YouTube TV or Peacock or Netflix, or if we never used to have that before. Now you have the option, which is subscription, to pick something to pay $9.99 each month or whatever the cost is now, because you know it's catching up. Cable has actually caught up to cutting the cord, so it's not even the same anymore. I remember when cutting the
Yeah,
cord.
you're right about that.
Cut the cord was a thing. Remember when everybody's like, we're gonna cut the cord, we're gonna now I feel like cut the cord doesn't even make sense anymore because it caught up to the fees are just exuberant as friggin' being with the cable company. So it doesn't even make sense anymore. I'm paying for
Right.
internet, I'm paying for the cable, I'm paying for, you know, YouTube TV, which is like $59.99 a month. If God forbid if I don't get the discount, then I gotta pay for Peacock, then I gotta pay for a Paramount Plus, gotta pay for Disney.
Yeah.
It's getting
Hell, some shit you got to pay a la carte if you want it.
literally, and it doesn't make sense anymore. I might as well just go to cable and call it a day. It makes no
You're
sense.
right about that. You're right about
So
that.
we're literally in the age of I could pick and choose what I want
See,
at the end of the day, but then I
but
might
you're
as well
not.
begin.
But you're not picking and choosing because, as MD saying, he likes the idea of paying for a service. I don't care about no service. I care about the actual intellectual properties that I enjoy. So if I want to
But it's not
play,
your
if I
it's
want
not
to,
your intellectual property though, Van Cat.
yes, it is. Hey, look, if I lay down money for Mario Brothers 1985 and I bought that cartridge, it's mine. Unless I have a
Okay.
fire in my house, it's mine. When I buy it on a Wii, let's say I had a Wii, you know, they used to download the virtual console download.
Yeah, the virtual
Well,
console.
then they
Yeah.
discontinued.
That was great,
Yeah,
by the
they
way.
discontinued. Yeah, exactly. And they discontinued that service. So if I didn't buy it at the time, I could never get it there.
It was making
So
money though, Van Cat. That's
that's
why they
probably
discontinued it.
no. That's not the reason why. It was control because the next system they offered it up another version of it, so you'd have to rebuy it there. And then after
Yeah,
that
you had to
went
rebuy
away,
it.
then the next, and then we'll just keep doing that same leapfrog. You know how many times I bought Mario Brothers since 1985? They got me buying Mario Brothers like 10 different times.
The only thing I'll say to that, and then we'll move on to the last headline. When you
Yeah.
bought Mario Brothers 1985, you also bought the Nintendo Entertainment System 1985.
Right.
That's the hardware in which
To play the game.
uses said game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not understanding the reasoning behind what you're saying, Van Cat. It's almost as if you're saying, look, this intellectual property comes out, I should be afforded the right to essentially own that intellectual property alongside Nintendo. I don't agree with that. I just don't.
Yeah, that's not what. No, because me owning it and Nintendo owning it is two different things. Nintendo can mass produce and sell it. That's their ownership
Okay.
of it. My ownership of it is I'm able to, as a consumer, be able to play it on the latest. Like if I have
That's
a VHS
not their
copy
obligation. That's not their obligation. Their obligation is provide the service of you enjoying Mario Brothers at that particular time with this particular piece of hardware. It's almost like you saying,
yeah,
they should be at your beck and call throughout the duration of your life based on one product that you buy. Like, I can't get jiggy with that, man. I just can't do it.
Coca-Cola. So what about Coca-Cola then? So Coca-Cola just ended in the 50s, right? It didn't continue through generations and generations. Like, what are you saying, MD?
I was gonna use an analogy, but I can't use it. It's too dirty. Okay, go, MD.
I mean, that's politics of sex. You cool. So Coca-Cola, once I go to the store and buy a can of Coke,
yes,
it's the Coca-Cola Corporation's obligation to refill that same can of Coke every time I want some Coke.
You're damn right. If
Not that can, but keep the product available.
That's the logic. That's the logic. That's the logic, Van Camp.
But
MD,
that's the logic that you just made.
MD, why can I not walk into any franchise or fast food, and if it has the Coca-Cola logo, why can't I just press the thing and pour out my Coca-Cola if I have the cup from there?
Hey, you can do that. You're free to do that. You might get arrested.
But your logic
but
is
you're free to do it.
Coke was great in the 80s, so it'll just stay in the 80s. Like, I can't access it now in this day and time, because they're gonna move on to a different.
Well,
flavor.
now it has sugar cane. It has sugar cane in it now, so it's
you know that's a flawed example of what you just gave. It's not the same.
It's the same.
It's not the same. We all right. Let's move on. Because we'll get into a whole thing, and I don't want to do it. We'll get into a whole thing. Okay, so just today, New York appeals court tosses Trump's massive civil fraud judgment. So we know, of course, last year in the New York fraud case with Letitia James, he had to pay this exorbitant amount of money. The New York Court of Appeals just today decided that under the 8th Amendment, it was cruel and unusual punishment. So it says in an appeals court on Thursday, tossed
cruel and unusual punishment for who? For Trump?
For Trump. They saying it's too much. It says an appeals court on Thursday tossed a roughly $500 million civil fraud judgment against President Donald Trump and his family business, marking a significant victory for the president in a case that he repeatedly derided as a political stunt by State Attorney General Tish James.
So
the court, however, declined to overturn the fraud case. So they said that the punitive damages. They said the punitive damages was too much.
Okay,
but they didn't overturn
the fraud one.
The conviction. They didn't overturn it. So he's still liable for fraud. But they say
that's them talking both sides of that mouth. That's things changed since it originally happened because now he's the president. Oh crap! Let's do something to appease this guy. None of this seems legitimate at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Vecchio Ricardo. In this same case is where they took away their New York business license, correct?
Right. They can't do business in New York anymore.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's
so
exactly
that part of the judgment still stands. All they saying is the punitive damage of the $500 million is cruel and unusual punishment. That's too much money.
That's crazy.
So they took that off the table.
So $500 million is too much, they said, for him.
Now, mind you, though, Ricardo, the financial report just came out today, where they said since Trump's been in office, with his crypto and all his other business things that he don't supposed to have while president,
he's
amassed over $3 billion.
Okay, so there we go. There you have it. So between
I don't see how it's cruel and unusual. I can't see how it's too much.
And that's where I'm confused. So are they trying to say that they should have given him a lesser amount of the 500 million? So
yeah, they said it should be a lesser amount.
My problem, and this is that the corruption is real. I don't know where it. But then again, it's a state. It's a state. Because if we're going back, because MD, correct me if I'm wrong, you're more in line or in tune with the states doing, their legislation and instead of going to federal. So if the states are legislating themselves, there's no need for, unless you need to escalate to SCOTUS, then you take it there. But the states should govern their own rights and all of that. This whole thing escalated because, again, he said it's a political witch hunt, which we all know he does a whole bunch of plethora of nonsenses, from the Trump University to the casinos that are filled, to the Trump era, to the grifting of the golden shoe, to the Bibles that he's selling, to I'm surprised the condoms didn't come out at that point. You have a whole list of things that he came out with. You're telling me that this is chump change compared to the fact that he has now what the news report says 3 billion now. I wouldn't be surprised if it went up even higher, because he literally
over double his net worth pre 2024.
And there we go. So the whole thing of him coming in to be president this time around was not because he wanted to fight to secure the right and make America great again. It was because, for one, to stop himself from going to jail, and again, release the damn Epstein files, because I don't know why your MAGA crew is all silent now. We've been distracted all week. The past 2 weeks we've been distracted. Bondi, I don't know what you're doing, but we haven't forgotten. Release the damn files. You have that, and then you have him trying to fight all these legalities that he's been trying to suppress. So it actually worked, because the half, I think the majority of the country voted him back in. As for why, we'll never know, but that's a whole other conversation. And now here it is that he's literally dictating like an how do you say the word, authoritarian person would be. Again, we are a republic, sir. Need I remind you, MAGA people, if we wanted to be a monarchy, we would have stayed with England. We decided not to. So we became a republic for a reason. You can't have authoritarian rule in here, because it doesn't work. The Constitution doesn't make it a thing where you could be how do you say damn word anymore?
Hey, man, you drop the patois, man, and speak English, man.
Yep, I'm trying to be very precise with my word, not do broken English. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm trying to make it like, because I hear a whole bunch of MAGA people talking. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Do you guys not know your Constitution? Did you not do civics? This doesn't make sense. But what do I know? Because I had to learn it when I became naturalized. I don't see why, if you were born here, you don't know. But that's a whole other conversation, MAGA crew. So waiting for you, Son Black, to come on here and discuss with us what you think is progressing here. I'm confused with the MAGA crew.
Man, yeah, you'll be dead if you wait on that. You'll wake up dead.
But yeah, it's weird, because the whole thing of them saying 500 million is too much is just absurd to me. Now, compared to the fact that he has almost close to $5 billion in his bank account, with the family business going astronomically higher, that in terms of everything that he now is doing. God knows what they're doing behind the scenes, because him and his crooked crew. Elon is nowhere to be found, but apparently they're coming after him now too. Because I don't know if you heard about his whole company, and he got a bonus the other day, and they are the whole what you call is they're fuming mad, because they're like, this doesn't even make sense. The board of directors are not happy. So there's a whole bunch of crooked and flowing.
And the thing with Elon, I didn't put that in as a headline, but that's another important story, where they essentially deemed National Labor Relations Board unconstitutional. The Vancat, that we got. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure I put that in next week.
Yes,
that's another argument. That's another argument me and Vancat can get into.
Yeah, but
essentially what they said was anything that has anything to do with the organization of labor unions federally is unconstitutional.
That's ridiculous.
And I agree. And
MD, you're just on fire tonight, ain't you, MD?
But MD,
I'm keeping it real.
But MD, don't they have to be more specific in the language though? Because I feel like it's going to open a can of worms. That what specifically in that language does it mean that it's unconstitutional? Why is it? Is it because why? Like what?
Because it's the federal government. Matter of fact, this is what we'll do. I'm gonna make sure I put that in for next week. And this is actually a great segue to our leading story for tonight. And you said something that was crucial as well earlier, Ricardo, talking about the cruel and unusual punishment and the federalization versus state rights, with New York State having a right to administer a judgment versus what the federal government have to say about it. This all gonna tie into the leading story. I'm gonna make sure that we lead into next week, even though next week is the last episode of the MGSD series, the politics of drugs. We gonna put that in because, like I said, that's important. And I'm not saying that the NLRB is not important. It is important. But when it comes to that particular matter, federal employees, I'm saying that rights from federal employees are starkly different from rights of private citizens. And we'll get into that in this story. I'm going to tie it in. What?
Yeah,
it is.
we
It
have
is.
to.
It is
We have
different.
to,
Yeah,
MD,
it is.
because I feel like it's opening a can of worms that because I don't understand why you have to separate the two. How is it that he's private
It's a reason. It's a reason.
with
It's a
40,000 employees from SpaceX gets fired, and then you get to dictate, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, wait, hold up, now we are not supposed to. You can't say do because it says here that it's unconstitutional." That how you have to explain to us why is it not the workers' rights you're infringing on compared to you who's dictating?
You can't. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I'm gonna just leave it at this, and then we're gonna move on. You cannot infringe on anybody's rights as it pertains to the federal government. That's point blank, period. If you unfortunately work for a contractor that is contracted by the federal government, you got some decisions to make based off of that, because your circumstances have changed. I'm gonna play the next video. This gonna be our leading story for the night. I'm gonna tie this into this. You're gonna be like, damn, he is a political prophet amongst men. Because I'm gonna tie in talking about marriage versus what you just said. It's all gonna tie in. Let's play the one last. Go ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say just to set it up though. A marriage is a contract though, so isn't it the same thing if they went into the if they signed on the dotted line with its private company SpaceX, and you're saying this with the federal, it's still a contract privately though, private company wise. So I'm trying to. I'll see what you're saying. I'll see where you're going. I'll see where you're going.
Let's play the leading story, folks.
Hey, Senator. You spoke about judicial activism. If the Supreme Court later this year strikes down the right to abortion, would you consider that to be judicial activism, legislating from the bench?
I consider it to have been judicial activism when it occurred back almost 50 years ago. So I think this would be bringing it back to a neutral point to where that issue should have never been federalized, way out of sync, I think, with the contour of America then. And this basically puts it back to a point where, like most of these issues, where one side of the aisle wants to homogenize it federally, is not the right way to do it. This should be something where the expression of individual states are able to weigh in on these issues through their own legislation, through their own court systems. Quit trying to put the federal government in charge of not only things like we did navigating through COVID recently, where I think that was misguided, but in general. So no, I think this takes it back to a point where it should have never gotten beyond in the first place.
That same basis to something like Loving versus Virginia, the Supreme Court case that legalized interracial marriage.
So when it comes to issues, you can't have it both ways. When you want that diversity to shine within our federal system, there are going to be rules and proceedings. They're going to be out of sync with maybe what other states would do. It's the beauty of the system, and that's where the differences among points of view in our 50 states ought to express themselves. And I'm not saying that rule would apply in general, depending on the topic, but it should mostly be in general, because it's hard to have it on issues that you just are interested in when you deny it for others with a different point of view.
So you would be okay with the Supreme Court leaving the question of interracial marriage to the states?
Yes, I think that that's something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical.
In all the field of race relations, probably nothing is more sensitive than the issue of intermarriage.
And now a page from our Sunday morning almanac. June 12th, 1967, 49 years ago today. A day of triumph for a basic human right. For that was the day the United States Supreme Court unanimously struck down state laws banning interracial marriage. Difficult as it may be to believe today, 16 states at that time still had such laws, Virginia among them. Virginia residents, Richard and Mildred Loving, had tried to sidestep the law by marrying legally in the District of Columbia in June of 1958. But back home in Virginia, they were soon found out.
Tell me what happened after you got married.
As Mildred Loving told CBS News correspondent Robert Fearpoint.
The police came after us the 14th of July. We were married a month and a few days.
Mrs. Loving, what has been the worst part about all this for you?
Well, I guess the worst thing that was spending a little time in jail. That's the worst thing.
In January of 1959, the Lovings pleaded guilty to violating the so-called Racial Integrity Act of 1924.
What did they tell you you had to do?
The judge then offered the Lovings a choice, a full year in jail or exile.
They said I had a later state. And what happened after that? Well, I left.
In Griswold versus Connecticut, the Planned Parenthood League of Connecticut's executive director, Griswold, and one of its doctors, Buxton, were arrested and charged under a Connecticut law that forbade the use of contraceptives by anyone, including married couples, and penalized those who provided information about contraceptives. Griswold and Buxton were found guilty as accessories and fined $100. Griswold and Buxton fought the convictions, alleging that the Connecticut laws violated their right to due process under the 14th Amendment. The Appellate Division of the Circuit Court affirmed their convictions, as did the Connecticut Supreme Court of Errors. Griswold and Buxton appealed to the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found the Connecticut law unconstitutional and reversed the convictions. Justice Douglas, writing for the majority, held that there's a right to privacy implied throughout various provisions of the Bill of Rights, even in the absence of specific language addressing privacy. Douglas pointed to the penumbras and emanations of constitutional protections, such as the right to assemble in the First Amendment, the Third Amendment's requirement for consent before quartering soldiers in private citizens' homes, the Fourth Amendment's recognition of people's right to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures, the Fifth Amendment's right against self-incrimination, and the Ninth Amendment's direction that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The court found that this zone of privacy should extend to intimacies between married people, including the use of contraception, and that those relations should be protected from governmental intrusion. 3 justices filed concurring opinions, and 2 dissented. Justice Goldberg argued in his concurrence that the right to privacy in marriage is so fundamental that allowing its infringement because privacy is not specifically addressed in the previous 8 amendments is to ignore the Ninth Amendment altogether. Goldberg rejected this reading of the text on the basis of the court's holding in Marbury v. Madison, that, quote, every clause must be given effect, unquote. Justice Harlan's concurrence found support for married people's right to use contraceptives in the Due Process Clause. He disapproved of the majority's willingness to look beyond established law and infer a new right of privacy, which he viewed as inappropriate judicial activism. Justice White concurred that the Connecticut law deprived married couples of liberty without due process of law. White further found the law so excessively broad beyond its stated purpose, that is, prevention of adultery and fornication, that it was unconstitutional. Justice Black dissented, because he refused to read in a right to privacy that was not in the text of the Constitution.
I have to tell you, as I said, I've been going through an evolution on this issue. I've always been adamant that gay and lesbian Americans should be treated fairly and equally. And that's why, in addition to everything we've done in this administration, rolling back Don't Ask, Don't Tell, so that outstanding Americans can serve our country, whether it's no longer defending the Defense Against Marriage Act, which tried to federalize what has historically been state law. I've stood on the side of broader equality for the LGBT community. And I had hesitated on gay marriage, in part because I thought civil unions would be sufficient, that was something that would give people hospital visitation rights and other elements that we take for granted. And I was sensitive to the fact that for a lot of people, the word marriage was something that evokes very powerful traditions, religious beliefs, and so forth. But I have to tell you that over the course of several years, as I talk to friends and family and neighbors, when I think about members of my own staff who are in incredibly committed monogamous relationships, same-sex relationships, who are raising kids together, when I think about those soldiers or airmen or Marines or sailors who are out there fighting on my behalf and yet feel constrained, even now that Don't Ask, Don't Tell is gone, because they're not able to commit themselves in a marriage. At a certain point, I've just concluded that for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
So is same-sex marriage in jeopardy? A petition filed in Kentucky is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to consider overturning the landmark decision that gave couples the legal right to marry. The petition being brought by Kim Davis, a former county clerk who refused to issue a marriage license to a gay couple 10 years ago. NBC Bears Emma Goss joins us now. And Emma, you talked to some Bay Area attorneys about constitutional questions with this.
That's right, Jessica. And this is Kim Davis's second time appealing to the Supreme Court's decision in the case of Obergefell v. Hodges. And her petition back in 2019 was rejected. The attorneys I spoke with are confident the Supreme Court will avoid addressing the constitutional question of same-sex marriage, but they could still take up the case as a question of religious freedom.
10 years ago, Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis went to jail for 6 days and was ordered by a judge to pay more than $350,000 in damages and legal fees after she refused to issue a marriage license to a same-sex couple on religious grounds. Now Davis is appealing to the Supreme Court for a review, citing violations to her religious freedom. San Francisco-based attorney Shannon Minter was on the legal team a decade ago for Obergefell v. Hodges.
Where she refused to issue a marriage license to a same-sex couple. And, you know, a county clerk, any clerk, can't do that just the same way they couldn't refuse to issue a marriage license to an interracial couple or an interfaith couple. I mean, you can understand that our system just wouldn't work if government officials could pick and choose who they're going to issue licenses to.
Even with a more conservative set of justices on the Supreme Court this time around, Minter doubts the justices are interested in revisiting the question of same-sex marriage.
They could take the case without addressing that question.
The attorney that represented the now married Kentucky couple that sued Davis for damages said his team is confident the Supreme Court, like the Court of Appeals, will conclude that Davis's arguments do not merit further attention, adding marriage equality is settled law.
Our love is here to stay. Our marriages are here to stay.
San Francisco couple Stuart Gaffney and John Lewis were plaintiffs in California's marriage equality case 21 years ago. They believe Davis's petition is an open and shut case.
She has to be responsible for her actions.
Davis's petition will likely be formally considered by the court in the fall, and if it's accepted, it wouldn't be scheduled for oral argument until at least spring of next year. Jessica?
All right, thank you very much, Emma.
All right, so there you have it.
Man.
So let me get this out the way, Ricardo. Let me bring your comment up, because this is important. You said, why are states dictating who one loves that is racially not the same as me? Now, in the previous segment, in the headline segment, when we was talking about the Trump fraud case, you said, essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, that the states should have the rights to dictate judgment however they see fit, and the federal government should have anything to do with that.
Yes. So,
correct?
Yes, in terms of what I was going for, the context there was when it comes to the state legislating in terms of, well, litigation wise, when it comes to, I don't know, let's say, because I'm trying to do a separation of state here and religion as a preamble to what we're going to discuss it. When it comes to Trump, I feel like because he is at the time, I don't know, was he president at the time when they sued him? He wasn't president, actually. I don't think so. No. So there would have been a division there because he wasn't president, but he was previously a president. So he would have been in the chair previously. What they were suing him for was the fact that he did a whole numerous amount of things that we all know came to be, you know, whatever they ruled to say that they were, you know, such and such happened. Now, in his particular case and context wise, he now becomes president again. So then now there's a conflict of interest there. So the state literally, it was committed in New York. So New York does take the preamble of saying, all right, well, it was done. This is our division. This is our jurisdiction. We are not going to dictate and say he was wrong. He was wrong. You know, he did such and such. He, you know, we're going to charge him for the said amount. It's this New York's consensus to do so. Now, if New York goes, all right, then he's going to appeal. So then he now takes it up to federal. I believe that's how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't done civics in so long.
Well, it wasn't the federal Supreme Court that overturned the punishment. It was the New York appellate court.
It was states
that did it.
Right.
Yeah.
So state is within the jurisdiction of, if you know, dictating or saying, all right, it was done in our jurisdiction. So that's what I'm saying. If it gets to that point, then he could appeal to, I guess, who will be what, federal next, and then federal then go to SCOTUS. I'm assuming.
Well, New York works different than other states. You know, in most states you got district court, then you got appellate court, then you got the state Supreme Court. Then you go to the federal stuff. In New York, I think Supreme Court is actually the lowest court. It's Supreme Court, it's the appellate, and then they got something called the Sixth Circuit.
Right. The circuit.
The Sixth Circuit. Yeah, the Sixth Circuit is actually the highest court in New York.
Right. That's
so they still got another level to go to. They can appeal. Now, but this is the thing. Yes, it's state court, but what did they use to overturn the punishment? They used the Constitution.
Right.
No. So ultimately, it's the federal government by way of the Eighth Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment. They ain't got nothing else to go off of. Now let's go to this story. If we look at talking about interracial marriage, because that's what they talked about in the beginning.
Right.
Now, mind you, Braun is a Republican. Republicans are supposed to be all about states' rights. He's saying that everything should basically go back to the state. Even interracial marriage should go back to the state. But he failed to mention the equal protection under the 14th Amendment, which clearly said you can't discriminate people based off blank, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Which was
one of those is race. So technically speaking, all what he said was bullshit because he failed to introduce the equal protection clause, which clearly say you can't discriminate against anybody based off race. And that's what banning interracial marriage does. Not only does it do that, it also bans your right to privacy.
Right.
Which is entailed in the 9th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and the 5th Amendment and the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom of expression.
Yep.
So, like, what are we talking about? Now, I'm all for states' rights under certain parameters as being a federalist, right? But certain stuff you just cannot overlook what the actual Constitution say. You just can't do it.
Well,
Venkat, you came off the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say one little quick thing. So they try to muddy the waters all the time with this
They
stuff,
sure
and they
do.
do all this political jargon to get people to not understand the basics of what the hell it is going on. If you want to do states' rights, because let's say some states they have issues like they have more hills and mountains. They have, different geography. So certain issues would be pertaining specifically to those particular states. But then there are other states like Florida. Florida's flat. It's not hill-like. It's a flat area. And certain states have access to the water, and certain states have more trees and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to look at a law, and states' rights and whatnot, an individual issue would be pertaining to that particular state. You would be able to have a state-specific issue. But when you're talking about marriage and two people want to marry, what the hell does it matter if they're the same sex or not? They should be able to be married, and it should be federalized all across the United States. I don't got time to be picking and choosing. We're gonna get married. Oh, but we got to find out which state allows this and which states allow that. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Like, it's too many states having so many different, varied laws on things that just because I live in California or just because you live in Missouri, a marriage isn't a thing that's like state specific. It'll affect everybody in every state. You just happen to be in a different place. So the surroundings.
Technically, that's not true, Venkat.
Okay, go ahead.
That's not true.
Go.
I was just gonna say because the states are the ones that's issuing the marriage license.
The marriage certificate. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah,
so I mean, I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I
agree.
get it. Yeah, but that was.
But
the
I'm
part
saying, technically speaking.
So let's take the marriage license out of the state, and then let's make a federal license. That's like a little. That's like a little fence I could just jump.
But this is the thing, though. See, and this is where you got to get. You got to put logic in it. What's the basis behind the marriage license? The basis behind the marriage license is to jointly connect the two's tech. Well, no, not that. All that shit is fake. I don't give a damn about none of that. The purpose of the union and all that shit and love, I don't give a damn about none of that. We talking practicality.
Right.
What I'm saying is the marriage license in and of itself has a very specific reason. And that very specific reason is to jointly connect the two tax brackets. You understand that, right?
Damn it! You just stole it from me. Yeah, you just stole it from me.
They don't give a damn if you love each other and I solemnly swear they don't give a damn about none of that shit.
Because when
we need you to sign these papers in order for us to be able to track your joint income. That's the whole purpose of a marriage license.
But not only that, but then also like to decipher assets and whatnot and rights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So inheritance, benefactors, all that shit. That's what the state give a damn about. Federal government, that's not the federal government though. That's the state doing that.
So I'm saying if it's such an issue with the state, then maybe the federal government needs to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Man. You damn commie. See, this is what I'm talking about.
There you go with that.
This is what I'm talking about. This part of states' rights, I agree with. Mm-hmm. The states should be the ones the same as states should be the ones handling registration and voting. That's a state thing. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be no federal government shit because you can't trust the federal government to do the right thing. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't trust the state to do the right thing because we have issues where certain states are way behind than other states, and we always come like, especially during voting time, there's certain states that are just inefficient at getting the tallies of the votes and whatnot.
And
Where
that
other
reminds
And
states,
you think it's going
they
to be
go
more
right through.
efficient if the federal government do it? You think it's going to be more efficient?
So
You got
of
that's
wait,
insane.
wait a
That's
minute,
insane.
hold on, wait a minute now. We try to act like the federal government don't streamline things and have the capital to make things happen. It's funny when water comes up from a hurricane, we all crying, where's the government? Where's the government? Save me, government. Come on, brother government. The
You talking
government
about
has
money
all
though,
these
Venkat?
resources.
But
Huh?
Venkat,
You talking
Well,
about
that's what
money?
you
You
need.
talking about money?
That's what you need. That's what you need to do.
I don't disagree
Programs
with
and
that.
but no,
Money ain't got nothing to do with manpower though,
but
Venkat.
wait,
Money
but
ain't got nothing. Yeah,
But
go
it's
ahead, Ricardo.
nothing to do
Go
with
ahead.
power
but
because the
wait,
money can
but
make the man.
But to add
Go
to
ahead. Go
bring up
ahead.
that
Go
point,
ahead.
you brought up a good
Yeah.
point though, Venkat. I just want to add to that. Say for instance, water. So if it rains, MD and Venkat, like we live in Florida, Venkat, me and you, but MD lives in Georgia. When it rains,
Yep.
if you set up a tank to fill your tank up with water, do you believe that you be I believe there's certain states that you're not allowed to do that because to them, if you're, it's kind of like stealing water. So it's like,
Yes.
you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
They
I'm not allowed
prohibit you.
to. Right. There's certain provisions in state laws that prevent certain people from, if you have a tank, you're not allowed to have it as a catchment to catch water because according to them, it's stopping it from going into the aquifers to then, spread it or distribute it amongst the people that's in the state. So there's certain things that they prohibit you from doing, i.e. that one example I just brought up where Venkat just said something about rain. Whenever it rains, doesn't necessarily mean that you can store water as like say for tank for emergency purposes. You're not allowed to do that in certain
MD,
states.
why your face looking like that?
Because
MD looking like Ice
I'm
Cube right now.
confused.
What's
Because I'm confused. So Venkat believe everything that comes from everywhere is everybody's.
what?
But now he mad. Now he mad because you can't collect the rainwater. It's my
Wait a
damn
minute.
rainwater. I should be able to collect it. But it's not your rainwater. It's everybody's rainwater. Venkat.
But don't you? But
Mhm.
don't you believe? But don't you believe, Emily, that you should be able to at least collect some percentage out of the rainwater?
I haven't heard nothing like that. I don't know. We ain't got no shit like that in Georgia. I don't know nothing about none of that.
You
It
gotta go
is a
research it though.
real
But
thing. I've seen that before. It is a real thing. They do
it's a
stop
real
you
thing,
from.
yeah. It's certain states like Arizona
But
has
that's
it.
contradictory though, is what I'm saying though, Venkat. Venkat think
Okay.
the federal government it should be Big Daddy for everybody. Being part of Big Daddy is making sure that we get all the rainwater to go into these reservoirs and these cisterns so we can distribute it amongst the people. Venkat say, nah, damn that. I should be able to get a barrel and fill my barrel up with rainwater. And it ain't nobody else rainwater, it's mine. But you
Because
just
I
got
didn't
finished
see.
saying the federal government should be doing every damn thing. I'm
No,
confused.
what I'm saying is in that particular issue, since the states is going to be an issue with all the, I don't trust certain states are going to be better prepared than other states. I don't have a lot of faith in those poorer states, especially. So if it's a problem, then maybe it should be a federalized, streamlined thing, especially with the level of importance. You're talking about voting, or you're talking about marriage and cataloging the information and all that stuff. Maybe that should be done by the federal government. Other things could be done by the state. That's more state issues. But I think that in the United States of America, you shouldn't have to be like, oh, I have to be in a red state because I don't want to be around people that are same sex, or oh, I'm a same sex couple. The only way we can get married is in these 15 blue states. Like, I think that's absurd. It's not productive and it's ridiculous.
But that's different. Yeah,
No, okay.
I understand exactly what you're saying. But what I'm saying is there are backstops to exactly what you're saying. And it's called the
Okay.
Constitution. That's just what it is. No state can override the Constitution. No state. That's a fact. If we look at in the piece with Loving v. Virginia, by the way, Miss Loving, she was fine. Now notice she was red bone. You know, back then the olive oil body style was the thing back because you look like black olive oil is what you look like. but she was light skinned. So, you know, she bagged the white man and that's just what it is. But if we're looking at it, the Loving v. Virginia case.
Yeah.
In that case, they had to go to DC to go get married. They couldn't get married in Virginia.
See, that's
they
ridiculous.
They went to DC to get married. Basically, as soon as they got back home in Virginia, they got locked up.
Yeah.
The 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause, clearly state that you can't discriminate against nobody based off race. So ultimately, it was an open and shut case, is what it was. So when they got locked up and then they sued the state of Virginia,
right.
The Supreme Court said, "Hey, what y'all want me to do? It say you can't discriminate against nobody via race." And mind you, this was post Civil Rights Act, 1964. The case was in 1967, and you still had states illegally banning interracial marriage. You couldn't do that. Now let's look at another case. In the piece, it was Griswold v. Connecticut. That was 1967. I mean, not 1965. In that case, they were talking about contraception. Connecticut said, "Hey, we ban contraception. You can't use that." In their instance, and this is where I'm gonna tie it into the whole SpaceX Elon Musk. They said your right to privacy, which is entailed in the Constitution and on multiple levels, due process, the Ninth Amendment, where it talks about any and all liberties and rights that are not even written in the Constitution. Those are your rights too. Meaning right to privacy, meaning the state or the federal government can't tell you what the hell you're doing behind closed doors. They don't got the right to do that. So that ended up being the precursor for Roe v. Wade and a lot of other shit. 2003 is when they unbanned sodomy. Remember, the South used to be anti-sodomy states up until 2003. I think it was Lawrence v. Texas. Basically saying, hey, you can't tell nobody if they want to get rammed up the ass.
Oh boy.
Or they want to put something in their mouth. They got every right. As long as they consent to it, they got every right to do it. Ain't no such thing as no sodomy. Not under the eyes of the law. It's not. You could be all religious you want to, but you can't tell nobody else that they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So these are the examples that you gotta focus on. And as it pertains to Elon Musk and the whole unionization thing, again, privacy zones are a thing. Once you, even if you're an employee, you ain't got to be no contractor per se, or the proprietor of a company that's contracted by the federal government. Once you become an employee of said contractor, you are now under the guise of the United States federal government. So certain rights that you may have after hours don't pertain to you during hours. I played that last video of the lady that's trying to get same-sex marriage overturned. I think it's the Obergefell case, because she didn't want to give the gay couple a marriage certificate.
Yeah.
You talk, and she did it under the guise of religious freedom.
Which is
during
ridiculous.
business hours, you don't have no religious freedom under business hours. You are an employee of the government.
Exactly.
You ain't got no right to religious freedom. At least not from 9 to 5. You damn don't.
Right.
So the Supreme Court shouldn't even look at that case. They're like, this. They should just. I'm the political prophet. I'm telling you this right now. Remember when I said it. If the Supreme Court choose to take that case, that means same-sex marriage about to get overturned. That's just what it means. Because what's any other point to taking the case? It's stupid. Right. It's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, you was the county clerk. Not only are you not only are you a state official, you an elected state. You got to get elected to be county clerk, meaning that you willfully ran for that position and won. Right. Then want to turn around and say, "Oh, I don't do sweet tooth marriages." You can't do that. You can't do it because you just violated my rights. The government literally just violated my right. So that's how I thought.
That's
The
right.
same
That's
way
right.
I tied into the same way I tied into the SpaceX situation. You have certain rights and principles that are bestowed upon you from the federal government for certain actions as private citizens. One of those actions are a right to work. You have the right to be in a organization or not to be in an organization. That's
Right.
why I'm against
Right.
union. I'm not saying that you can't join a union. I'm saying is you shouldn't be forced to join a union. In a lot of states, you are forced to join a union if you want to work in a certain industry. That's bullshit. Now, with SpaceX, once Elon Musk took that contract, I then become an employee of the federal government. The NLRB forces certain parameters around you as it pertains to workers' rights, right?
Right.
Which is bullshit. Now, on the back end, I disagree wholeheartedly, Ricardo, with Elon Musk being able to fire those people under that government contract. Because if you're a government employee, just like we was talking about a couple of weeks ago, you got certain rights that private citizens don't have. One of those is due process under employment. We know most states are what they call at-will states, meaning I can fire your ass because I woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Florida is one of them.
But as a federal or a state employee, you got due process. If somebody fire you, you have to know what was the reason behind the firing. That's part of your governmental protection. So it goes both sides. But I'm gonna let y'all. I just wanted to get that out. It's a good leading story. It's good because it covers a lot of shit. If y'all got anything else on it, go ahead.
No, you said it. You said it, MD. I agree with a lot of what you said there, and it's real what you're saying. Yeah, I have a real big problem with that woman, though. You've been elected, like MD said, to that position. You know, not only knew what the job entailed and what you had to do, and then you bring your personal bias or opinions into wanting to do the job that you were elected to do, and you're saying no, you're not doing the license because you disagree with these people. It's just ridiculous, and it just made it this big story that just politically divided people, and it's just a mess. And I get sicker and sicker about these kind of things because in the moment of time, there's no legitimacy behind it. It's just more political jargon just for the sake of trying to make it sound legitimate, but it's not. They try to legitimize a lot of hate, and that's all it is just a bunch of hating going on. They try to legitimize it through politics. And Donald Trump is one that has really pushed that forward.
Right. Ricardo, you got anything else on that?
No, I mean it's great concise points that were brought up in terms of the whole thing with the states legislating and doing the rights. The whole thing with my main concern with the whole ruling of yesterday with Elon Musk and the SpaceX with the 40,000 employees thing was with the board is that it now opens a can of worms because like you just mentioned, which I didn't even realize, that if you're under private contract for the federal government, you have certain rights that protect you as opposed to a regular person that might be in an at-will state. I didn't realize Florida was an at-will state until something happened to me here with one of my employers, and I was like, I'm protected, and they're like, no, you ain't. And they're like, do you have a union? I was like, no, I don't have a union. They're like, well, there goes your luck. You ain't getting diddly squat from this company because they can fire you at any given time, and they don't need legitimate reason to do so. I was like, but I thought, they're like, you thought wrong. You don't get to, sit here and then go. So I literally knew there was no reason for me to fight because once it's an at-will state, that's it. They don't need nothing else, Now, if they infringe upon my rights, like say, for instance, they didn't give me, certain days off because, so and so and this, then that's different. I could fight and I have proof as long as you have proof. But I didn't know there's so much stuff that went down when it happened to me that now I'm so self-aware of like certain things that are particular for this particular state. And I advise everybody else, if you're in your state know your state laws because they come in quite handy for you when shit goes down. Because had I known the things I knew after the fact beforehand, I would have been legit clear. But things happen, and you learn from life, and it's one of those things. But my thing with the whole thing with Elon and the people that were privately contracted and whatnot is that now it opens a can of worms for me in terms of the ruling, that now who's to say going forward they can't cherry pick what they want in terms of the basis of, I don't know, like, would you then say that if the worker has FMLA, are they allowed to now say, oh, we can't allow you to have FMLA anymore, kind of thing? Like, there's certain things I feel like it now sets precedents for, because that ruling just it's ambiguous. It didn't really tell. Well, I guess it kind of did, but it didn't really zero in on what it was specifically that the workers now going forward now get or not get. That's where I'm a little bit on the. This is kind of like scary the precipice off. I don't know. Maybe you can explain it further if we do another episode in this going forward, MD. But that's where I'm a little bit concerned. It's just that there's a little fine provision in there that I'm not sure they could have actually answered the question more in the fine print off. But I'll leave that for another time. But that was my only thing. But yeah, I didn't know federally that you're protected more so if and mind you,
yeah.
That
yeah, you got due process.
I didn't know that.
You got due process. They can't fire you for nothing as a federal employee. Hell, not even as a state, a local government employee, they can't do that.
Wow.
Because you protected under that federal provision. Now I'm gonna bring up one more thing, then we're gonna go to the next story.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with the lady not wanting to give the marriage certificate. Again, like we just discussed, she's a government employee. She don't have a right to a freedom of religion as it pertains to her job. She just don't. Now let's track it back. Remember, I think a long time ago we at least had a conversation about the gay cake. Everybody remember the gay cake? The baker didn't want to bake the cake
I was gonna bring that up
for the married.
Yep.
For the married the couple. Gay couple or whatever.
Yeah.
Now we talking about private citizens, right? We're not talking about government. We're talking about private.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue, I think it's wrong, but I would argue that person does have a right of freedom of religion,
right,
to not bake the cake. That's a private business. You can't tell
them.
You can. Now, hold on. Wait a minute, because I know where you're going. Anymore. It don't matter if it's 1940s. I know where you're going, Van Cat. Now let's say me and my wife go in there, and she say, I'm not making no nigger cake, and it'll be the nigger cake. It'll be a clear violation of my civil rights based on this racial discrimination. Everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. In the Constitution, it's very ambiguous as it pertains to sexual discrimination. Now, what does sexual discrimination mean? It's a definition, a legal definition for sexual discrimination. Sexual discrimination simply means hatred towards the opposite gender. It don't mean same sex. So there's some ambiguity there when it comes to a violation of one's right. Now, I'm saying that it is a violation of somebody's rights, but I'm also saying that an argument could be made that the ambiguousness of the Equal Protection Clause don't specify same-sex bigotry or things of that nature. So that's why that was never revealed. Now, what you about to say, Van Cat? Let's argue.
No. I mean, I'm just saying it's not in the 1940s or whatnot. I mean, you could clearly.
What does the year got to do with it? They ain't got
because back then they were getting away with saying, "Hey, I'm a business. I don't serve your kind or that type or that whatever." Now, in this time, and with all the laws that have been passed over the last few decades, you're not able to just say, because you don't like a person that you won't serve a person.
That's not what that person said. They didn't say because they didn't like somebody. They said that my religion dictates what I can and cannot do.
So
So with
just
that
like
being
I
said,
said,
name the law.
no, just like I've said, a lot of people are camouflaging hate
I don't disagree with
with
that.
politics. So
I don't disagree with that, but
I'm
that
not
ain't got nothing to do
I'm
with the
not just
wording.
It wouldn't be the first time.
But still, Van Cat, you're gonna have to name something that backs up your argument. Is what I'm telling you.
But Venkat, so
no.
say for instance, in let me give you an example. So Chick-fil-A does not open on Sundays because, according to the owner, don't correct me if I'm wrong, he's religious. So in his mind or in his thinking of logic, why am I opening my business when I'm deeply rooted in religious
Hey, that's
context?
a good one, Ricardo. So hey, look,
So
you and Ricardo is we gonna do a class action lawsuit against Chick-fil-A because I want my damn chicken sandwich on Sunday.
That's not the same.
Okay.
That's not.
Oh my
That's not
God.
the same. That's not the same.
Go ahead, Ricardo. Go ahead.
no, but
Hold on now. It's not the same because you're arguing that you want it to be purchased on a particular day versus not being able to get the purchase at all because
no,
of my race, creed,
but
gender,
it infringes.
or sexual orientation.
But what if it infringes on my religious ability to celebrate, my religion on Sunday? Like you're gonna be upset because I go to church. What if you don't go to church? What if you're atheist? You don't believe in God? We have two different contexts here. Like I'm deeply rooted.
Then go on Monday and freeze them and eat them on the next Sunday.
What if I don't
But
have time? I work overnights. I have things to do. I have there's a plethora of things I got to accomplish. And then now how dare you close on Sunday when that was my only free time? It's kind of like
so
the
then
dentist.
so then this is capitalism, baby. If they shut down, then you go to McDonald's.
But all right. So let me give you another example. Dentists or barbers. Do all
Yeah.
barbers open on a Sunday that
Nope.
you're aware
No.
of? No.
Most don't.
Most don't. Right. They're not even open on Mondays, I don't believe. Sunday and Mondays are the only 2 days I believe barbers take the time off from. If you're a black barber, I don't know about the white ones. So everybody has their own particular context. But it's the same thing for
Supercuts open
dentists.
7 days a week.
Well, I mean, they're of a particular capacity type establishment, so I can see why. But in terms of like an establishment like an orthodontist or a dentist, not
Right.
all dentists are
Right.
open on the weekend. They're not.
It's good that you say that, Ricardo, because years ago I was trying to find a dentist that was open on my day off at the time, which was Tuesday, and nobody was open. I went to so many. It took me 2 years to find a dentist
Damn.
that was open on a day I needed it open. And when I did that, I finally gave them money because they were open the time I needed to be open. But I'm not going to go up against all the other dentists that wasn't open and be like, hey, you're infringing my right to have my teeth done on Tuesdays. No, I just kept looking because it's capitalism, baby. So I kept looking. And it took me 2 years, but I finally found one and I got one. But I don't agree with the point because you're using under the guise of some kind of justification, whether it be religion or political views. Oh boy, Captain. Captain Capitalism, man. You're using under the guise of political affiliation or politics in general or the Bible or religion or whatnot. You're just using those things to cover up your hate and biases. And I'm not justifying that.
All right. So
You
let me
know
throw
when
in one.
something is legitimate.
Let me throw in another example then, because since
Go
we're
ahead.
in the part of sex, say for instance, I decide to go to a brothel in Las Vegas because Vegas is infamous for them, like
Yeah.
Omar Odom did or whatever his name. What was the one of the Kardashian people's married him? I can't remember his name. And it happens to be on a Sunday. Now they go, oh, they're closed on Sunday, and I have an NBA game that I was doing the day before. So how dare they close on the Sunday? Because that was my only free time. I am deeply non-religious, but I'm religious on the Sunday. How does that work now in that context, Venkat? Because capitalism still rules. I'm still paying you for the service for you to render me.
Yeah, but with
But again,
capitalism, if one element doesn't meet your requirement, that's what capitalism is. You move to the money to somewhere else that will accommodate what you're looking for.
So
That's the whole
you're telling
point.
me to go to another brothel is what you're telling me.
Hell yeah, all day
competition.
long. Exactly. That's the whole idea. And if the brothel that is closed constantly have people reacting that way, and then they're getting less and less and less money, it's either they're going to continue to sink or swim, or they're going to have to change what they're doing to accommodate those people so that they can make the money that they're looking for.
But what if they don't have the caliber of the product that I'm looking for in
Then
terms
it's
of?
capitalism, baby. They going out of business, as it should be. If you can't meet the requirement of the moment to do what you need to do, then you need to be out of business.
Then my job here is done.
That's the Venkat I want to see. If you don't like the quality of service, hey, you take your business elsewhere. That's just what it is.
That's right.
But what
That's
if other states
You know?
doesn't allow me there, MD? If I have a reasonable, great product that I could bring in terms of the brothel society, and does said state that I'm bringing it to says, oh, but wait, hold up, we don't need your filthy, disgusting.
That's their laws. That's they see that goes back to because we got to move on. But real quick, that goes to the point. Venkat just said it's a lot of states, particularly red states, that are struggling. Why are they struggling? Because they're not adapting to society in and of itself as it pertains to capitalism based off dumbass beliefs.
Yeah.
So that's their laws. That's their laws.
Yeah.
And that's the moral of the story.
Yep.
That's the moral of the story right there.
Yep.
Stay in your trailer park and worship your God. And that's just that. Everybody else gonna progress forward. That's just what it is.
And have
Under the
ultimate
guise of
convenience.
capitalism and civil rights. That's just what it is. So, I don't know what else to say. But all right, let's move on to the next story. So we talking about Pornhub. We've been wanting to talk about this story for a while now.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with Pornhub? Does your state let Pornhub in?
No.
I just found out by researching that Georgia is now on the list. I didn't know.
Is it?
I don't partake in the Pornhub, so I didn't know. So
Is MD
so I just found that out.
Is MD saying that or suggesting he has other alternatives to using Pornhub?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
why didn't you just say that flat out?
So I just didn't know. So let's take a look at what's going on with Pornhub, and we're gonna look at it from a political eye and see what's going on.
Keep the pressure on. We want to see criminal investigation prosecutions. Just on Tuesday, there was a joint letter from 732 organizations and survivors to our U.S. Congress demanding a criminal investigation and prosecution of Pornhub, MindGeek, and its executives. So, and the same thing happened in Canada. And so we're seeing, it's slowly but surely we're continuing to take steps. And, for these victims, I always say this line, I say a slap on the wrist is a slap in the face for these victims. And that's the truth. You can't just be able to say sorry and move on, because these victims can't move on. Their lives are destroyed by this predatory company. Many of them are suicidal. They face severe depression. They can't hold a job. Some of them can't go out of their house because they're afraid to look around the grocery store and think of who saw their abuse. And they call it the immortalization of their trauma. I think it's important to understand the consequence for these victims, that it's not only that they had to be raped, but then that rape is being used on the world's most mainstream sites for profit and pleasure, that it's being downloaded and then redistributed again and again and again. They're obsessed with trying to find their videos of abuse and trying to take them off the internet. And they say, long after I'm gone, people will still be getting profit and pleasure from the worst moments of my life. And that's a form of torture for these victims. And so because of that, the consequence for Pornhub has to be severe, and MindGeek and its executives. So we just want to keep up the pressure. And I really do believe that real justice means the site is shut down.
More than a third of U.S. states now restrict access to adult websites like Pornhub. 17 states, including Florida, South Carolina, and Tennessee, enforce age verification laws affecting over 120 million people. Critics argue these laws violate privacy. ALO, Pornhub's parent company, claims they risk personal data. Virtual private networks, or VPNs, have surged in popularity as users bypass state restrictions. Searches for Texas VPN skyrocketed. Donald Trump's Project 2025 plan could further restrict pornography, claiming it lacks First Amendment protections and is psychologically harmful.
Today, adult content just got a lot harder to access in Georgia. It's all because of Georgia's new age verification law, part of the Protecting Georgia's Children on Social Media Act. WJCL 22 News' Tia Maggio joins us now live from our newsroom tonight. And Tia, these sites aren't just sitting back, they're pushing back.
That's right, Shannon. Major sites are calling it a privacy nightmare, but supporters of the law say it's about protecting children from harmful content. For most people, accessing porn is just a click away, but that's not the case anymore in the Peach State. Under a new law, any website with adult content has to prove you're 18 or older, usually through checking a driver's license or ID. State Senator Jason Anavitarte says it keeps kids safe from graphic, damaging content.
This bill that impacts your young kids, my young kids here in Georgia, is historic legislation, model legislation, dealing with social media companies, age verification, cyberbullying.
And if you try to log on from Georgia, this is what you'll see. A message on the site about the new law.
Elected officials have required us to verify your age before granting you access to our website.
This marks Georgia as the 18th state in the country with restrictions against pornography. Porn sites who've been backed by the ACLU say this not only puts user privacy at risk, but is also unconstitutional.
Whenever the government is passing a law in the name of protecting kids, I think there are serious questions to be asked about whether what it's really doing is saying this speech is bad for everyone.
Is there any underage porn on Pornhub?
No, absolutely not.
Zero.
And
how do you verify? Like, how do you know out of all the porn that's on Pornhub that nobody that ever shot the video at the time was under 18 years old?
Sure. So, yeah. We can both answer that one. Sure can. Go ahead, Alex. You go first.
But I think it's really important that people understand that to upload content to Pornhub, it's actually it's quite difficult, and that's by design. It's not just like, okay, I can kind of like you do on Instagram or on social media where I have something on my phone, I just want to throw it up there for public consumption. It's quite the opposite. So in order to be able to upload anything to Pornhub, you first have to become verified. So that means you have to go through a program where you have to scan an ID. You have to make sure that there's a likeness test that matches the ID of the person that's on there to the face that's of the uploader. Only once you've gone through that process and that's been verified by a third party that we use called Yoti, can you then get to the point where you're actually able to upload. And then again, there's a number of different checkpoints that a piece of content has to go through before it ever goes live. So these are things like verifying the consent and identity of every single person that appears in a scene. We then scan the content against a number of different databases that contain hashes, so to make sure that there's no known illegal content of any kind. So that could be...
How do you know how old the person was in the porn when it was shot, at the time that it was shot? Because somebody could have give you the porn, and today I'm 19 years old, but when the girl shot it, she was 15 and a half. How do you regulate that?
So the ID has to be current of the time that the paperwork is submitted.
I know, but how do you know when the video was shot, when the porn was shot?
Because do you want to talk about
it's important to understand the legal regulations that are behind this. So first of all, for any adult content that's produced in the United States, the regulations require that prior to the shooting of the content, that there is a form filled out that has age, identity, consent, and rights release for the use of that content. What many people don't know about Pornhub is that all the content is moderated. So unlike YouTube or X, you can't just upload something. It has to be reviewed by a moderator. And the moderator is looking at, number one, the documentation, But this is just to understand the scale of this effort, right? I always say this is a company that really puts its money where its mouth is when it comes to keeping the platform safe. This is not cheap to do this. We're in an age now where trust and safety is being reduced on many of the major platforms. Yeah. We're investing, I say this from the ownership perspective, we're investing more heavily than ever.
But how do you do that, though? Like, what I want to know is, and by the way, just so you know, I'm right now while I'm speaking to you, I'm looking at stories that's coming up. So like right now, I just typed in, this is my first time ever going on this thing called Trafficking Hub after I saw that. I saw the 2.2 million people here based on what's in Wikipedia, right? So if I go over here, then a story comes up with New York Times, the children of Pornhub, right? Okay, so I clicked on that. So this story right here, right? Can you zoom in, Rob? What's this story about that New York Times wrote? Do you guys know?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's it about?
That's the story. That's the story, by the way, that gave the opportunity to purchase this company because it led to some really significant reforms. So prior to the publication of this opinion piece, and that's what it is. It's not a news piece. It's an opinion piece by Nicholas Kristof. Pornhub did not require the ID for all uploaded content. Within weeks of the publication, this is well before we acquired the company, the company took a pretty dramatic step, which is it removed 8 million pieces of content where they didn't hold the ID for the uploader. So the rest of the industry, which continues on, by the way, doing exactly what was happening pre-2020, said, your site's going to die. Nobody is going to upload content if they have to provide their ID, where every single uploader has to provide ID.
Right.
And in fact, Pornhub transformed the user-generated content industry as a result of this and other challenges, which is, by the way, exactly what should happen in the tech industry. Problems should be identified. So, like, I don't hold any grievance against the identification of problems and challenges. That's how you get better, right? And what happened, this is my description, it's only my opinion, is that you had the content creator revolution, which has changed the internet.
Right.
It collided with the adult entertainment industry. Neither were really ready for each other. So from the content side, the creators said, we're going to get eyeballs and monetization. The adult industry said, we're going to get content. And figuring out how those two go together with the kind of safeguards that we have now, that took time to happen. I think we really, as the system exists today, not historically, not a 2020 New York Times article, how it exists today on the ground is an example for the rest of the content creation industry to follow.
If you go a little...
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload. Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload.
I played the nigga babble alert because that's what that dude was doing. He was porn babbling is what he was doing. PBD asked him a simple question. It was simple what he asked him. How do you know how old these people is at the time of recording of said video? They could not answer the question, Venkat or Ricardo.
No.
They babbled. I'll talk about a long babble. They babbled on about some shit that didn't have nothing to do with nothing. They tried to mention the verification. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. And you know how easy it is to upload some shit?
Yeah.
And then you turn around and say, okay, the owners prior deleted like 8 million videos of non-verified people. Okay, whatever. Then you say we got moderators. So you mean to tell me I can apply for a job right now where I just sit and look at porn all goddamn day long? I wouldn't have no energy. No energy.
Yep.
Well, I'll be done. I'll be done for. Done for. I don't even know how I would get back home. All I do all day for 8 hours is sit here and watch porn. Not even knowing what I'm looking. I could be looking at some crazy shit. Keep that in mind. You know, so I can say, oh, that ain't gonna make it. I cut that out. I cut that out. I cut that out. This is asinine. Now, I don't agree with the whole ID verification. I think it's some bullshit.
It is
again. It goes back to what we were just talking about previously. Privacy.
Yep. Bing, bing, bing.
I should be able to look at what the hell I want to look at in the privacy of my own home.
Exactly.
So
I take the risk.
Are you against the ID verification because of the possibility of like data breaches and whatnot?
I'm
or are
against
you
the
just
ID
in
verification
general
because
against?
it infringes upon my rights. That's why I'm against
Facts. Yep.
it. That's
Why
why
does
I'm
it?
against it.
Why do you need ID for me to watch a naked woman, do whatever she's
But
doing? Or it, it,
so
it makes no sense.
so when you go to the movie theater, you don't have to present ID and whatnot.
No,
Like,
no.
no, I'm saying, like, let's say, no, obviously you look like an adult, so they're not gonna ask for ID. But like for people that are in between, they may look younger than their age. They might ask or require for ID. When you buy cigarettes, they're gonna ask for ID. When they buy alcohol, they're gonna ask for ID. So kids that are browsing the internet, what is the way to block them from accessing this content if
You
not
don't.
for ID?
That's how. That's how you don't. Because
So now we're letting.
it's not the government. It ain't about letting nobody do nothing. The
Nope.
government ain't got nothing to
Okay.
do with it.
Nope.
We just got finished talking about
Yep.
privacy, the privacy zone. That we just got
Yep.
finished talking about that.
Yep.
It's not up to the government to police
What I do
the
in my private
internet.
time. Yep.
It's up to you and
But
me and Ricardo.
but again, we have to provide ID for cigarettes, liquor, beer,
That you partaking
movies.
in another person's service. We talking about home versus somewhere else, man. It's
Or
a simple
wherever.
premise.
Right. It does nothing
If I'm
necessarily.
somewhere else and I'm partaking in something else, that company, that store, that service, whatever it is, got every
Yeah.
right to do what the hell they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they say, hey, look, I have to protect my company, my business, I'm going to put measures in place to make sure that I'm straight. Because guess what? If I sell this beer to this kid, I'm going to jail. I'm getting fined.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas
There's repercussions.
if I go in my parents' refrigerator at home and grab a
drink your
beer,
own beer, then that's nothing
ain't no
happening.
problem.
Right.
Except for an ass whooping, maybe.
Yeah.
Home versus other. Home versus other, Van Cat. Let's keep that in mind.
So you're accessing this content on either a phone, laptop, computer, right? That same phone, laptop, computer can be in your home, can be out in a public area as well.
But I have secure.
The settings can change at any moment. So
Yeah,
it's
but
not necessarily
that's a
in
good
your
point.
own home.
Go ahead, Ricardo. Then I'm
No, I was gonna
gonna
say.
counteract that.
But I was gonna say, but if say for instance, I have my kids at home, and I, because as a man, and I probably will say this, and I'm gonna admit it out loud, I do watch porn. I don't have a problem watching it, but then I have moments where it will be in the privacy of my work. No, because we're gonna be straight up.
You
If you're
sounded like,
Notorious.
hey,
no,
you ain't in the confessional, man. Don't nobody give a damn.
no. But you have some people be like, I'm gonna clutch my pearls because he says it. I don't give a damn. All right, so I was just doing that the lead up for the people are out there that are like, oh, the people. Yes, people watch porn. As a matter of fact, the Canadian owns Pornhub, so I don't know if most Americans are aware of that. But blame your
Well,
Taco
Mark
Bell.
Robinson does, surely does.
But yeah,
Mark
the thing
Robinson all
that
up in the porn sites.
well, I mean,
Eating pizza.
Yeah, and wearing his hat. That's a whole conversation to be had. The politicians do too. Don't let that phase y'all that they be doing some stuff behind the scenes, but yet they're fighting this whole legislation of putting IDs in place. Again, it like MD mentioned, it's privacy. What does that have to do? Like if I watch porn in the vicinity of my domicile or in wherever in my car or whatever, and as long as I put my security parameters in place, meaning like I could put security passwords on my phone so no one will be able to access it. Why would I leave my phone out willy-nilly for anyone to get my access to my phone? If I'm at work, I don't even leave my phone if I leave it unattended. My password verification lock is on there. So if I need to authenticate it, I'm the only one that will be able to do it. Why would I leave my business out there to be like that? And then again, why would I be watching it at work? I don't know. But and not to say that I do it, but I'm just using that as an example. There are certain parameters that there's certain parameters you put in place, i.e., put in your security password on your phone. again, I think that's where you were leading to, Vancat, because that's why I had to counteract
Hey,
that
hold on,
argument.
Ricardo. If you watching porn out in your car on your lunch break and stuff, you got a problem, man. you got a problem, bro.
Hey,
Wait.
but
You
there
need
are
to go
people
get that
doing
checked
that.
out.
Wait.
But there are
And
people
that's
doing
fine.
that.
Wait, but let me counteract that. But let me counteract that, MD. Why would you then go to the strip club then? So if you were going to the strip club, isn't there a problem there too?
No, it's not. No, because that's a social experience. No, it
Okay.
ain't. No.
So it's not the same. Okay.
You can do whatever the hell you want. I ain't got no problem with you watching porn
No,
on
I'm
your.
just
I don't care.
Individualism,
I give a
MD.
fuck.
Individualism. But no,
I'm just saying. Maybe it's some underlying issues. Is all I'm saying.
no, I mean, yeah, I question that too. But if you're in a car, I don't know why. But then the same thing could be said about people that are in wherever else. I mean, we've seen the politician at work, right? He was watching porn, and he got caught in the last two episodes of Tape Fist Politics. So there, who's to say? People are into voyeurism, they're into whatever, and that's again, whatever fetish you're into, it's up to you. It's not my job to like
Shout out to
personalize
Ron
it
Walters.
or whatever. You know what I mean? But I'll just say this again: why would you not have security perimeters put in place to authenticate yourself from anyone accessing your files or phone or whatever, computer, laptop? That's the point I was trying to counteract with VanCat. I don't know what else we were gonna try to put in place there for MD. I just wanted to say that out loud. Whatever I do in the
That's a
privacy
good
of
point.
my domicile, house, car, truck, aircraft, plane, whatever, it's for me. You understand? I don't know why that will be like a thing because again, why are we policing people? I don't understand that whole concept. There's a reason why we separate church and state. That I'm dead ass 100% on this. You can't police people in their bedroom. There's no way you need to be doing that. I don't see anybody policing the Pope or Donald Trump in his bedroom. Why are you doing it to other people? I just don't get that concept.
I don't think that it's policing too much to the degree because you're just trying to make sure that the right people get in. And like policing would be like, as they're in there, they're like nagging you for a lot of information. It's just an initial, like, are you the age? Once it's verified, boom, you could do everything unlimited to what you want to do in there. But I just think there is a problem when you have little kids accessing these sites like that. It's just
I don't
because
disagree with you.
there's nothing stopping it. There's nothing blocking it. Like Disney
And
Plus
it should.
got R-rated movies now
I was
on
just
there.
about to say.
But
Disney Plus
Disney
also
Plus
had
account.
parental control.
Exactly.
Correct.
But
PG-18,
we don't have that with
PG-16.
the internet, and it's way
No,
more hardcore
now,
stuff.
but you do have parental control with the internet, Vancat. You know
Yes,
that,
you do.
and I know that.
Mhm.
No, you don't.
It
No, you
got
don't.
yes, it does, bro. Yes, it
No,
does,
you
bro.
don't. If
You got if you have internet, if your kids got a phone, and I'm just saying in general.
Yep. There's ways that you could block them.
You can block the shit out of a lot of
Yep.
stuff. I do it.
Yep.
So that's just false, Vancat. Now I wanted to bring up this point. Now you said, what about if you in the park or whatever, sitting in your car, whatever you're doing?
Yeah.
You understand that your person is part of your privacy, right? When they say on your person, that means anything that you are connected to, a la your vehicle, your boat, your belongings that's in your pocket, whatever is in your hand is your person. We established that, right?
Yeah.
So even if I'm sitting in the park, minding my own business, bouncing my knees up and down, watching Pornhub, that's my privacy. That's my privacy. That's just a fact. Can't nobody say shit to me at all.
But are you infringing upon somebody else's
Nope,
domain when
because
you're doing that?
I'm minding my business. I'm minding my business.
So you're
if I pull my wing out, that's a different story.
Right.
Now we talking about lewd and lascivious behavior.
There
right?
you go. I was waiting for you to say that.
So MD, what if if you're required to enter in a password, a username and password, is that an infringement on your on your freedom? Because
no, that's for your protection.
Mm-hmm.
So how come
there ain't no problem with that.
How come the ID presenting the ID is not looked at the same way? Because to me the username and password is an authentication that you have the right to access this content. That's the same with the ID.
So why do I need the ID?
Thing.
It's not the same. If you're saying that it's the equivalent, why do I need the ID?
Facts.
I'm just asking.
Because right, but why would you need the ID to begin? Like so that's what is in the place. So MD, do you know why they are
you need the
required?
ID to you need the ID to make sure that you qualify to access the product, just as you need the username and password to identify that you have the right to access whatever content you're accessing.
When the last time you've been on a porn site? Go ahead, Ricardo.
Oh Lord.
But are you paying for this rendered service though, Venkat, with Pornhub? I thought it was free.
It is free, but okay,
That's what
so
I'm saying.
you know, Tubi's free as well, but you can enter in your username and password, and then it'll give you some additional benefits.
No,
but that's not for verification. That's for your protection of your account.
And then not only that, Venkat, you could bypass that whole thing of you signing up. You can still go into Tubi free and still see the content. It's just that you're going to be getting a lot of advertised content while you're watching the films or movies. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to put in your name and all that information. I usually skip that when I'm watching Tubi.
I just feel like the inconvenience of providing ID isn't as great as having a wide open for any and everybody to access the content, especially content on that level. I think there should be at least some kind of a wall to authenticate that you are authorized to be here. I don't think it's a big deal.
The wall is the username and the password.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I asked you when last time you've been on a porn site, because they ask you, hey, are you
18 or
above
older?
the age of 18?
Oh, that's some fake
yes or no. It don't matter. It don't matter. The site did their part. That's all they need is so you understand. You understand that. We talk about porn. This is a very low bar.
Right.
So I mean, you know, it is what it is.
It is a low bar,
but that's there to protect the porn site. Saying, hey, look, I asked this person, are they 18? They told me, yeah. I'm protected.
No, but
you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about a physical space. We're talking about the digital realm.
But
it's two different things.
Not only that,
go ahead, Ricardo.
I also want to bring up another point. When back in the day when we used to watch the VHS and you know your daddy's porn and all of that stuff, I used to
buy them. I used to buy DVDs from the store. I was like 15, 16.
Right, and I did the same thing too. And no one asked me for IDs back then, but that's all that conversation.
Hell no.
Right. So that's an indictment on them people selling.
We're just saying. But when you correct me if I'm wrong, MD, when you put in the porn in the DVD or in the VHS or whatever, didn't it not come up with a disclaimer that says if you're not such age, blah 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 blah, this is such and such and such. Like it gives you that there. It's just for you to read it. I don't. This whole thing of of them saying
Ricardo,
that.
So in that particular time period, that's all they could do. Now let's say we in a super nigga future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that future, you can look dead into the screen, and it'll scan your eyes, and then it'll know your age, it'll know all your information, and then it'll go through. If that type of technology was around then, you don't think that those companies would have implemented that and put that in there?
No.
Yeah, I don't.
Stop it.
No.
Okay, so I would go to Blockbuster. And I would record the hell out of movies and wrestling tapes. And there were certain tapes that had a special decoder that when you recorded it, it would play back scrambled, and it used to piss me the hell off.
I remember
So that if they would implement that, you don't think they're gonna go to the next level and implement some sci-fi ass thing with it scan your eyes and whatnot?
You talking about piracy though, Venkat? How are you equating piracy to age verification?
Because they're going to utilize it to streamline both the piracy issue and
they don't want you to steal the stuff. That's different. They don't want you to steal.
If I believe companies, if they had
they don't give a damn if you watch it.
Oh, I think they would. I think if they had the opportunity, they would do it. They would pull that trigger instantly, because then it'll get them off of a lot of the liabilities of whatnot that they're dealing with. Pornhub is facing a lot of heat right now. If they had the technology that could easily just streamline and filter out who is eligible to watch it and who isn't, they would do it for sure. I don't think that they wouldn't.
Venkat, do you give a damn if they think that they care who watching Pornhub? As long as somebody you understand the views in and of itself, just like YouTube or any other site, the views is what's generating the revenue. All they want is your eyes, Venkat. They don't give a damn who eyes it is. They don't give a damn.
And actually, they have provisions put in place where they know how many people are watching porn and what particular countries they're looking at. Like they know what particular genre porn people are watching, which is shocking.
But they don't know the age.
They don't give a damn about the age.
I think they
listen to me.
Yeah,
we all in our teenage years.
Yes, sir.
Watch pornography, bro. The porn industry love teenage boys. They love them.
Yes, they do. They do.
There would be no porn industry without teenage boys. What are you talking about, Venkat? We are the ones that made the money for them.
Yep.
We did that.
And we're the ones that escalated it when these girls start showing their tits on WCW, all that stuff, Girl Gone Wild, all that stuff. It was us. They were marketing to us.
It was us.
Yep. We're the ones.
We are. It was a song by POD. We are the youth of the nation. The youth of the nation made porn. Not no middle-aged man. I mean, yeah, you had middle-aged men sitting around wanking off, but we were the driving force behind the industry, Venkat. We were.
Yes, sir.
That's just a fact. The vivid videos and all them, they loved us, Venkat. They loved us. They said, look, we need to make stuff for the teenage boys. We were the target audience. So why in the hell would they get rid of us? Meaning the next generation of us. They wouldn't do that.
It's illegal. Because it's illegal. Come on, man. It's illegal.
I understand it's illegal. Pornhub do not give a damn if it's illegal or not.
And it
I'm telling you that right now.
And it doesn't stop you from getting the service rendered to anyways, because it didn't stop boys from going out and planting their seeds and sowing their royals, oats, all over the place. And that's a whole conversation to be had.
I put it to you like this, Venkat. I put it to you like this. I'd rather have I got an 18-year-old son and I got two 15-year-olds about to be 16. I damn sure rather have them in the bathroom or in their room watching porn than going to go do some crazy shit out on the street with somebody that they don't know.
Facts.
That's a fact. That's a whole fact. I can say I'm proud of my children for discovering their sexuality through the eyes of Pornhub. I can say that because I'd rather have them doing that. That's a fact.
So what about the unintended consequences of doing porn so much that now you attach the climaxes and everything to that scenario? So now when you got a real live person, you ain't able to do anything.
Well, MD, go ahead. Go ahead, MD.
No, I was gonna say, hey, that's a part of life, bro. That's a part of growing up and understanding limitations. Hey, I'm being for real.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding limitations, understanding discipline and restraint. That's just a fact. These are life lessons, Venkat. I can't rely on the government to teach me these life lessons. That's just what it is.
Well, the government can
I understand the risk that when I was younger or one of my children can become addicted to pornography. I understand that.
Right.
I get it. But again, hey, look, you got to have the mental fortitude in order not to be. And I'd rather teach my kids that than to go say, hey, look, just stick it where you want to. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in the climate that we're in now, because
Exactly.
if you didn't hear before, MD, I don't know what's going on in Fulton County, but
I heard it, man. I heard
okay, I
it.
was
Yeah,
about to say,
HIV on the rise.
yeah,
HIV on the rise.
that's crazy. That's crazy that both. It's not even like we would say it's one targeted gender. It's both parties. So I don't know what's going on in Fulton, but
You
y'all
know
need to
what's
go.
going on.
I know what's going
Oh
on, but
boy.
we need to get together, man. It's scary. It's scary.
Oh
It's scary
boy.
news. It's scary up there.
I thought about putting that in one of the clips, but I said no,
Oh
I ain't gonna.
boy.
But yeah, it's on the rise. I seen it.
Yeah,
Hey, but
so it's
hey,
just
anybody
getting
else
worse
got
and
anything
worse.
on this? It is.
Yeah,
But
well,
hey, I'd rather watch Pornhub. Put it to you that way.
yeah. Oh man.
But anything
All right,
No,
so
that's good topic. Good. It's good debate here. It's a good conversation to have. A lot of people would brush it off, but all this stuff it matters. It surely does. So,
But
and
it's just
when it comes to the porn industry, there's so many more things. You know, the
there
abuse
is.
element.
There is Rankin, but like I've always said it. I'll go even further. Why not legalize prostitution and then tax the hell out of the people that are performing
hey,
in
great
there?
segue, Ricardo. Great segue, because
Because
that's the next story.
that would just make it a little bit more. This whole thing of people hiding and doing all that just make if we, like we mentioned brothels earlier, like Nevada is notorious for the brothels. Why not legalize it and then tax the? And I've been a huge proponent of this. I believe he who shall not be named also said the same thing. I am not against it as long as you're doing safe practices or whatever. It's just like the porn industry. You can't be a performer and not be tested weekly. It's the same thing that applies. But I also go further and say tax. I don't see why Uncle Sam shouldn't be involved. I do believe if you're going to be in performance mode, it should be taxed.
All right, save it for, because like I said, that's the next story. So we'll say that conversation on the other end of the video.
But first, could Illinois be the first state in the nation to legalize prostitution?
Lawmakers in Springfield are debating a bill that would do just that and create a sex workers' bill of rights.
Yeah, Sylvia and Terrence, it's called the Keeping Sex Workers Safe Act, and the idea is to bring this industry out of the shadows to protect work can be very dangerous for those involved. It also creates a sex worker bill of rights that gives those workers the same protections and access to health and benefits that any other worker has. Now, State Representative Will Guzzardi of Chicago is a sponsor and says Illinois should lead the way.
Adults should be able to engage in consensual sexual activity without government interference. And people who are being coerced and trafficked and forced through violence to engage in sexual activity, that's a crime and it should remain a crime. And that's all our bill does. And I think it's a really important step forward for our state.
Now, the bill also prohibits any sort of discrimination against someone who's a sex worker. Now, in 2013, the state reduced the crime of prostitution from a felony down to a misdemeanor, and that resulted in a reported 97% reduction in prostitution arrests. So essentially, police have stopped policing it. But Republicans in the General Assembly say legalizing sex work could lead to more of it and more potential exploitation of women and minors.
We know here in Illinois that most people don't start in prostitution of their free will. We also know that this doesn't start as adults. The average age of trafficking victimization starts at 12 to 13 years old. I feel that if we do normalize prostitution and legalize it, it's a disservice to those people who just never wanted to be there in the first place.
Now, this bill is currently being debated in Springfield, and these next few weeks, Sylvia and Terrence will get a sense of what bills are going to pass and what bills are going to die as lawmakers are in the middle of their session. It's heating up, and they have until the end of May.
Let me ask you a question about the incels. Do you think the incels, do you care about the loneliness of the incel?
I think that male loneliness is a massive problem.
Okay, so
I think non-people getting male lonelies are deteriorating society. Yes, I think it is a massive problem.
What do you think the fix
One,
is?
I think we should legalize prostitution.
Okay.
I have been standing on this for decades, and I think that prostitution should be legalized.
Okay.
They will never do this, but that I think would be a massive solve.
Massive solve. Okay.
One.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Ask follow-ups.
No. Follow-up is what, because that's a temporary loneliness fix, although it's effective.
Look at Joy Taylor's face here. Temporary is doing some serious heavy lifting. Regardless, incel culture is sadly growing in this country. On the topic of what Taylor stated.
How do you define sex work, a sex worker?
Well, first, we don't use the term sex work. We don't believe that prostitution is either sex nor work.
So sex work is a broad umbrella term that includes many different forms of erotic labor. So prostitution, of course, is the one that is most discussed and is criminalized, but it also includes legal forms of erotic labor, dancing, camming, whether people want to identify as a sex worker or identify as a survivor or a victim. That, to me, is something that's only that person can define for themselves.
It's controversial, to say the least. In fact, buying sex and selling sex has been illegal in all 50 states, with some exceptions in Nevada, until now. In October, the state of Maine enacted the first law in the country to partially decriminalize sex work, meaning selling sex is no longer a crime. Buying sex is.
What Taylor discussed even has the endorsement of New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She tweeted, and I quote, "Sex work is work," when this story broke. The New York Post, owned by Rupert Murdoch, would dox a New York City paramedic because she was on OnlyFans while also serving a third job as a hostess at a restaurant. She admitted she did it to make ends meet. Quote, "At the end of the day, it does not affect how I treat people. What I do in my free time is my business. It has no effect on how I care for my patients," she stated to the outlet. Sadly, it turned into a humongous story and showed not only the reach, but the power of the right wing in media. Via the ACLU, they give 5 key reasons on why sex work should be legalized in all 50 states in this country. Of course, many of these would go against exploitation, the prison industrial complex, and capitalism, to name a few. Would it help male loneliness? Let's hear from Taylor once more.
What would be a long-term fix to bringing people back together? What do you think?
Okay. So while it's a temporary fix, right? And many people will have some retorts to this, of course. It's not a simple solve. Mm-hmm. But I believe that straight male biology, and particularly men who have this sort of anger, is because they don't get physical intimacy, right? But they have convinced themselves the type of physical intimacy they would like is, their favorite porn star or favorite OnlyFans girl or this unattainable beauty on Instagram who is never, ever, ever, ever going to fuck you or meet you or talk to you ever. Mm-hmm. So they don't look for the physical intimacy that is around them. They don't go outside of their home. I think intimacy is a big problem. I think men not having sex is a big problem.
But this is my
and the confidence that comes from not having physical intimacy, not having the ability to have sex, turns them into these raging psychopaths that then blame feminism and women running for presidents as the reason why society is deteriorating. And then they go out and vote as such in favor of trillionaires who wouldn't give a fuck if they had their last breath halfway through this podcast.
So can sex work and the legalization of prostitution possibly help incel culture? To that I say maybe. I do think that it could. I don't necessarily buy temporary. I think there are, like everything, positives and negatives. My opinion on all of this is simply that it should be legalized. It should be legalized and regulated. There's so many things going against it. Like, as stated previously, the prison industrial complex, exploitation, police reaching quotas, taking advantage of workers, etc. And shockingly enough, a video that we did, I believe about 2 weeks to a month ago, a woman was arrested for alleged grand theft auto, and a cop, after she said she wanted to get with him, had to call for backup because he was arrested in the back seat of his police cruiser, which I think everybody should go and look at. So I guess it only works for some and not for everybody. Regardless, What I think the problem is, if we're really breaking it down, again, taking what I said about good and bad things, the internet is and can be a good and healthy place. The issue at hand is that you have a board, and a board wants to rake in as much profit as possible. And as the saying goes, and what I'm about is people over profits. The board is profits over people. Republicanism is profits over people. A section of Democrats are profits over people. And what they want to do is keep everybody on those algorithms for as long as they can possibly stay. Because your attention, your eyeballs are their currency. That board is dependent on it.
Excellent video. First off, let me say this. Joy Taylor, she's a dunce. Everything that she said, I believe, was wrong in regards to the incel culture. To me, incels, it's not a sense of intimacy. It's a sense of power. That's a fact.
Yep.
I don't give a damn what nobody say. Shout out to Trev and shout out to Wayne. I'm still waiting to get into the arena and have that discussion. But hey, who knows? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, incels are there because they've been depleted of their power. What they think that they have over the opposite sex. And it gets to the point where they just black pill themselves into obscurity. That's just a fact. Then you have the grifters, i.e. the manosphere. They swoop in and give hope and inspiration to these incels. And that's how money is generated amongst that particular community. Capitalism, baby. That's just what it is. I'm going to take advantage of your plight, your downtroddenness, and generate revenue based off of it. That's what the manosphere is. Don't let nobody else tell you any different. Don't let nobody do it. It's not about them having physical contact with a woman. They could easily go get some ass if they wanted to, if all they had to do was pay for it. Hey, hell, anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that. Yep.
No, I want the power that's been built through generations, through millennia of this false totem pole strategy of what we call paternalism or toxic masculinity, quote unquote. I want that. I don't give a damn where it comes from, nor do I care about the specific type. Yes, you want the beautiful woman, but not based on the physical attributes. You want it based on the status. That's a fact. That's where the whole sense of this quote unquote alpha male ideology comes from. That's just what it is. No such thing as an alpha male.
That's right. You're hitting your same facts there, MD. That's true.
There's no such thing as an alpha male. That's something in the animal community. but we're sentient beings in the fact that we have some would say intelligent design. Some would say free will. Pick what you want to pick. I'm telling you that we're not animals in the sense that we don't instinctively bow down based off attributes. We don't do that. You can if you want. But I'm going to say you're going to look like the fool if you do it. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say also, do you believe, because, I'm going to interject CJ Hammer time here. Men should not be alone. Like the Bible will tell you that man should never be alone. That's one thing. And the other thing is, I don't believe men or human beings or what would the scientific community call us now, current humanites? So they call us what, Homo sapiens?
Homo sapien sapien.
Yeah. So it's sapien sapien now. So
yeah, sapien sapien.
Homo sapien sapiens now, I don't believe are meant to be monogamous. I've always put that in place, that it's just one of those things where we were just ordained, because if you look back at other cultural aspects, and let me just put it this way: North American Homo sapiens sapiens were never meant to be alone. And they're never meant to be monogamous, because if you look at other cultural aspects of what you see down the line from history, it predates us now. men were always with multiple women, and that over time just got conduced down to, you know, man being all right, so I don't want to be alone, so I'm just gonna stick to one woman. And that then turns into, oh, there has to be commitment, and then there's gonna have to be a contract, which is the marriage, you know, ring. I don't even know if they had rings back in the day. But then that becomes a contract, and then I'm gonna stick to this person for the rest of my life, and it just goes from there. So there's certain things, aspect cultural wise, that we've been ordained to follow because somebody, you know, said, "Oh, this is the way it is." Just like women never usually would wear white on their wedding day. That was just put in place because Queen Victoria, the back in the day when she was becoming, you know, getting married to as a princess or a queen or whatever, she decided to wear white, and everybody just started copying it from there on up. So it doesn't necessarily mean it was in place from God knows or whatever. It's just somebody said, "Oh no, this person did it, so just because MD do it, I'm just going to continue the tradition of following this pattern over and over again." So that's where I'm like, yeah, there's certain things that we see we follow now, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was put in place because it was ordained and it should be that way. It's just somebody decided upon principle, this is how it should be, and because MD did it, I'm just gonna copy it and just make it much more better, perpetuating it going forward. So, you know, there's a whole plethora of that goes on online. I know I'm nigga babbling, but I just wanted to put that in place to
No,
say.
no, it's all good. I disagree with you, but I'm gonna let Vancat go, and then I'll tell you why I disagree.
Go ahead.
So the legalizing aspect of prostitution is important because if it was legalized, you would automatically kill the 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 market of taking people and making them sex slaves and all that other stuff. That would immediately kill that. It's no different than if something is illegal or unavailable, you go right to eBay and you could buy this discontinued or hard to get item, and it's like $500 when it was originally out and available readily on the market. It was probably $20. So once you legalize prostitution, the black market around that industry would immediately collapse because of it. And by legalizing it, you're now going to have it safer. There'll be rules behind it. There'll be more protections because, as we learned in the 80s and the 70s, the 60s and whatnot, when the serial killers' rise was really good and really high for them, who were they going after? Homeless and sex workers. Those were easy targets. And why the hell do we have a society where we're okay with people being disposable on the outskirts of society? So that needs to happen to help.
Agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a no-brainer. Like, you know, with these certain drugs, I believe as well, they just legalize the damn thing, make it, you know, couple it with like some programs to wean them off and whatnot. And I think we got to look at these problems differently than we traditionally have because it's not working. It's not working. But if for that, there was a woman on the video piece that MD played, and she was criticizing the legalization of prostitution and talking about how it would get worse. And I'm thinking to myself, how? Like, if you really are concerned about trafficking and especially little kids getting trafficked, once you kill and make accessible the prostitution game across the country, you're not going to have that large demand anymore. It's just not going to happen. So anything else is just...
I disagree.
Huh? You said what?
I said I disagree with that. I disagree, but finish up.
Oh, no, that was it. What part did you disagree there about?
Okay, all right. So, yes, I agree 100% with y'all. Prostitution should be legalized, no doubt. You should have the right to contract yourself in that manner and have the same protections as an independent contractor or employer, however it go, right? Here's the thing, though. And I'm gonna ask you, Van Cat, because you're the perfect person to ask. If prostitution gets legalized nationwide, what's gonna happen to your insurance premium?
My insurance premium?
Yeah, yours. Yeah.
Nothing.
I disagree with that. You know insurance premiums go based off the stock material, correct?
Right, but a professional wrestler's insurance. I'm not worried about professional wrestlers' insurance premium because that's an industry, so that'll affect that industry. The prostitution porn industry would be a completely.
That's
Huh?
That's not how health insurance works. Health insurance go off the stock, not stock market. When I say stock market, I'm not talking about the literal stock market.
I know
I'm
what you
talking
mean.
about the stock. Yeah, stock meaning the abundance of the market itself, and the type of service. Again, I agree with you. I just want to make a point. That's all.
No, but you're gonna
go ahead.
For what you're saying to be true, that would mean that the amount of people that will be involved in the prostitution industry would be greater than the normal, let's say, civilians, right? The regular people in society that do not engage in that work.
That's what I was getting at, Venkat. You're right. That's exactly what I was getting at.
Okay.
So if we gonna take it on its face, right? And it's hundreds of thousands of OnlyFans and $40 hollers from the lowest to the highest. If we're gonna take it on its face, it's gonna be a balloon effect when it comes to the requirements based on being in that type of work. And services gonna have to adapt based on that type of work. Your premium is gonna explode, Venkat. On its face. Now we know it's gonna be a lot of people say, bump that. I'm not gonna pay no extra money. And if they do get into some of these premiums and the requirements, healthcare wise, dealing with that type of work, guess what? The price of their services is going to drastically increase. I'm telling you, all of this to say this, there will still be a prostitution black market. As a matter of fact, it might even grow. I'm just being honest. See, I deal with everything. Everything is about capitalism and numbers, Venkat. Everything. So it's going to be $1,000 to have a lady of the night. $1,000.
You're saying the price of pussy will go up because
dramatically.
So is
because now they got overhead.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
they didn't used to have overhead. They didn't used to have overhead.
No,
but now they forced to have overhead.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So based on overhead, what you got to do? You got to increase your price.
So just to break it down in context for the listeners out there, when you say premiums go up, is that attributed to the fact that there's more involved at risk here? Meaning, like, if you're legalizing prostitution, you're saying the disease factor will go up, so then they have to factor that in, and then
that's how insurance works. That's how insurance works, does it not? Insurance goes off.
I don't think that your premium will go up. I think depending on what you do.
Don't work like that, Venkat. Don't work like that, brother. That just don't work for me.
It'll probably be a minimal increase, but I don't think it'll be to the fact that, like, it's going to balloon up because now prostitutions are available to get insurance. I don't know about that.
Do you want a minimal increase on your premium? I don't.
They doing it anyway every year anyway. The calendar year just changes and then they just do it anyway.
So let me ask.
I can't remember a year that it doesn't go up.
Let me ask a question, and the quick question for you. So when you're filling out those forms, right, for the insurances in this particular context that we're using this for, do you believe that you have to type or fill in that if they ask you, are you a sex worker? Have you been involved in sexual, erotic, gratificational work, whatever they want to call it? Because since sex work is such a terrible word now, so I guess they won't call it sexual gratificational work. Do you then
lie? Are you saying you gotta lie? You can lie if you want.
But
hold on. So specific industries need a certain type of coverage. That's why I brought up the wrestler thing before. So a wrestler is going to need certain services and protections from an insurance policy that a guy that's picking up a box and putting it on a truck isn't going to need. So I think the same would go with the sex work industry, and well, they will have to have a specialized insurance package to address what they need. So
I understand
that's why I'm saying I'm not
the market in and
the
of
whole.
itself, the market in and of itself takes the risk in totality is what I'm telling you though, Venkat. It takes it in totality. Trust me, I know this.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that, but it was going to go up anyway because it always goes up anyway.
Well,
Just
you can
because
make that
it's
argument.
a new excuse, it's a new excuse. It's irrelevant. It's going to go up anyway, whether it gets better or worse. And that's the problem with our insurance, and that's the problem with
I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with that, but
that don't take away from the fact. That don't take away from the fact. You pay your taxes, then you die, Venkat. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got to stay black. Well, you stay black first, then you pay your taxes.
Well, whichever order you think is sufficient. But what I'm telling you is, you can whine about it all day long. It ain't gonna change the fact. That's just what it is. And based off of that increase, especially for the sex workers, they are going to up their price. Meaning there's gonna be a market for the $40 holler. Do you understand that?
But $40 was always the standard though, MB. So then who was to say when Trisha from down the block then raised it to $10 more? What is the incentive of me going with Trisha down the block compared to Kara that's right here? That
it depends on how deep your pockets are, I guess. I mean, that's just what it is. But I'm saying I agree with what the lady said.
Yeah,
there will still illegal prostitution will increase. That's a fact. but hey, it's pros and cons for everything, like you said, Ricardo. Now let me go back to the incel thing. Like I said, a lot of stuff Joy Taylor was saying was hogwash. Incels don't give a damn about what they can and cannot have. They give a damn about the power that they can and cannot have. That's just what it is. Because we have that false sense of power. Now, let me go to what you said, Ricardo. You said that North American, based on, I guess, the culture, that we're naturally naturally want to be with multiple women. You fail to mention women wanting to be with multiple men.
That's true.
If you go talk about North American culture, how can you not talk about that? And the fact that there were cultures in antiquity that did do that. So I mean, another thing that you said, you said that we naturally want to be with other people. I say that's false, and here's why. And this is why I'm the individualist, because I've prophesied these things and saw in the past what we see now in the future. The Homo sapien sapien is literally built. We were evolved into a being that literally can survive on its own. No other species can do this. No other species.
That's true.
So,
scientifically speaking.
So in actuality, we are the beings on Earth that were built to be by themselves. You know what I'm saying?
But in order to procreate,
that's a fact, bro. No other species.
But
go ahead.
But the male version to the Homo sapien sapien couldn't. I mean, wouldn't you say in order for him to multiply or progress, going forward, he would still need a companion, though?
Of course. Yeah. But I'm not. I'm just talking about the physiology. That's all.
Wait a minute. Hold on now. Well, like snakes and whatnot, they just do their thing and then they move on, and they're usually by themselves.
Well, I over exaggerate.
A honey badger ain't hanging out like that. Honey badger do
I over exaggerated, I over exaggerated. What I'm saying is, we are built to be survivalists. Would you agree with that?
Yep,
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's the point. I was over exaggerating. Of course, it's a lot of species that's by themselves, but even those species got a mate. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, when it comes to the social aspect, we are the only ones that are able to create a social environment. Don't no other animals do that shit. Like, don't no other animals go around and say, hey, you know, my name's Mark. How you doing? You know. we are the only species that generate the social environment. We are also the only species that are willing to retract and get into that survival mode. We can go in and out as we please. So from that point of view, it becomes mind over matter. With the incel, there's no mind. It's you know what I'm saying? They going off of an ideology. That's why I kick back so hard against this whole manosphere, masculinity bias. All that shit is bullshit. You're mad.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're mad because now, socially speaking, women are in a quote unquote better position as you perceive.
Exactly.
Like I said, it's all perception. As you perceive, then you. So now you're mad at the world. You want to fight everybody. Then the grifters, i.e. the manosphere, they come in and grift off your depression. That's just what it is. That's just what it is.
That's the best way. That's the best way it's been put. I mean, that's literally what it is here.
That's all it is. People like Andrew Tate and all these people, Kevin Samuel when he was alive, bro. It's a play. It's a play.
Yes.
That's all it is. And I hate
and it's dangerous
to see men. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. And I hate to see men get in that position because ultimately you are in control of your destiny per se as it pertains to how you want the social outcome to be.
That I agree with. 100% concur. Yep.
Like it's up to you to decide how it goes from here.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
And the idea that you're going to sit there and say, I'm going to wallow in my self-pity and all this crap, when there's nothing that prevents you, say, for instance, if MD is open and sat in the press. That's not, whose fault is it that you, and yeah, you will get in a funk, sure. But you are also your own individual that could pull yourself out of it because, you know, would help, of course. But you are the only one that will be. No one's going to be able to tell you, oh, I'm going to bring you to the water, MD, and then we're going to force you to drink it. You're not going to drink it because you're like, I don't need it right now. So it's mind over matter. This whole thing. I remember. I don't know if I posted in the chat where I think CNN did this special on this one guy that was like a kid that was going to college that got consumed in the whole incel medicine.
Yeah, I know you talk about Elliot Rodger was his name. Elliot Rodger.
And I was flabbergasted by the fact that he was like that kid that had good grades, and you know how they got me was I was playing video games and they literally it just got into this whole thing of, and I see how you know these other parties do this thing too. It's kind of like a in a sense probably brainwashing you is what you will probably call it, where they get into your head somehow and then they find ways that like you know say all right then you know this is happening to you and then it just goes from there. So it's like a correlation, and then from he just got consumed in that whole thing in just a matter of just that like that. So the family had to go in and interject and was like, yeah, you know, this none of this that they're saying is, you know, it's not accurate, you know that, right? And he's like, no, but based on what they're saying and this is what's happening. It's a scary road to watch people go down that deteriorating aspect of it. But you know, like MD just said, it's up to you ultimately to make that decision. You can't make someone like I can't blame somebody for my own, you know, misdeeds. I'm the one that's at the end of the day in control and capable of pulling myself out of it, if that makes sense. I don't know if I went into a whole tangent, but you are the ultimate person. You're the one that is able to pull yourself out because nobody else is going to do it for you. I'm sorry. That's just the world we live in. You got to pull yourself out of it. A drug addict has to, you know, figure, hey, I'm going to have to stop using. Yeah, is it going to be hard to, you know, go cold turkey? Yes, absolutely. But ultimately, it's up to me to stop, or else the alternative will be what? Death. So, yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Hey, once I find this video, man, I'm gonna play it for y'all real quick. Go ahead, Van Cat, real quick, and then I'm gonna find this video, and then we're gonna get into the duck.
Oh well, I don't really have much else. I mean, I think everybody hit it on the head right now. It is an interesting and again an important topic that we're talking about here. Um, yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it. I just think that MD mentioned about the price going up and
Why it's supposed
and
to going up, man? It
the
has to.
market exploding and
It has to.
he, he'll be very. I mean, he probably is very much right about that, but I think that when you look at like what the consumer of prostitutes would look at. So for those guys that don't give a damn, they go in the back alley. But there are other people that have a lot to lose, and they're gonna probably opt for like a clean environment with security, where it just has like a decency to it, and it's not just such a rundown thing. I
It's still
think they're
dirty.
gonna want to pay for it. They're gonna want to pay for it regardless. But it just depends. It just depends. I mean, every action has a reaction for sure, and that could be an unintended consequence. But I still think it'll be a better option overall for those that want to continue to do it off in the black market and endure the threats of being abducted and killed by a serial killer, or the ones that want to face like unclean, unsanitary environments and blah blah blah. You know, more power to you. You probably won't last long, but you probably have those that will understand the value of the regulations and the protections, and it'll be better in the long run for the worker and for the consumer.
Well,
And also, we need to take away the stigma and the shaming aspect as well,
that
and
I agree with.
just focus on making it better.
That I agree with. I think taking away the stigma where it will stop. I don't know if it will stop because back in the day, you used to have Craigslist and all these places that people used to go, just to go purchase. Whereas, if you could just, and again, if you're anyone, who's to say if you want something real bad, you're gonna go get it. That, like MD mentioned, if he wants to go get donuts tomorrow, he's gonna go get it. Like no matter what the cost is, it's whatever he wants, he's gonna go get. He wants
Right.
that urgent, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if somebody wants something, they're gonna get it. When it comes to, because I don't know, since when did sex worker become such a stigma word of a word that it's like problematic now? I guess they're gonna call it sexual gratification something. I don't know what they're gonna change the word to. At the end of the day, I say if you're gonna pass the bill to legalize it, which I always said prostitution should always be legalized. Now people will have, it's a polarizing topic of discussion, yes. But if you're gonna go down that road, I don't see why you shouldn't tax them as well. I mean, Uncle Sam has to get his money some way. So if you're gonna do it safe in a safe manner, and we're gonna have insurance involved and all this stuff, why not put it into the test of having Uncle Sam get his cut out of it, and you go from there. That's always been my
Right.
part. You know what I'm saying? But
There's
it's
also
Yeah.
there's also like I was looking at this video on YouTube I think last year, and they have like this little business in this industry where it's not prostitute. They don't do actually sex, but what they do is like they're like touching and the cuddling and that's the human affection thing, because like they were like profiling people that have like deformities and and handicaps and whatnot, and they obviously still even in their handicap state, they
have
still have
feelings.
urges and they have things that
For
they
human
want.
being.
Hey,
Exactly.
that's a good point.
So that's an actual business that the lady that was profiled was showing, and she would go and she'd have her clients and whatnot, and she'll spend like an hour, 2 hours, and it would just be cuddling or just touching body parts and whatnot, and that alone was good enough for just the interaction, the human touch and whatnot. So
Yep. Having intimate interactions is not a bad thing. So yeah, a business is a business. You gotta make money.
Yeah, I
Kudos
can't
to
find what I was looking for, man. I can't. I don't know where it's at. Um, I don't even know what I just pulled up. Be honest with you. So yeah, we just gonna move on. So let me get this out of the way. All right, so hey, it's about that time, man.
For who would the duck toes?
Hey, your time has run out. Like Ricardo said, for who the duck tolls. It's time for you to accept the duck sweet embrace.
The lames of the
this week,
lames.
hey, so for this week, I got a good one. Hey, we've been having fun with this person, especially Van Cat. Van Cat been having fun with this person. So I said, hey, why not just go on put her in the darkness.
Not that picture.
So hey man, hey, with that being said, let's get into the duck.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
We finally beat Medicaid.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
He's right, he did beat Medicaid, beat it to death.
Duck went like a dove. Feathers fly in the air. Waddle in here, waddle in. Y'all's a duck, yeah, you's a duck. Duck look like a dove.
It is time for you to wake up. So we will start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneau. That person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. Okay? Here is a photo, by the way. Just over the years, Jean-Michel Trogneau, as he became Brigitte, as I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. That second photo, I believe they found a photo of him at a pride parade when he was just living as a homosexual man. That next photo is when the transition began, if I recall correctly, and that's a photo from the professor years. And the professor years of Brigitte Macron is when he statutorily Emmanuel Macron. Is it your view, and it's fine if you don't have a view on this, that Jean-Michel Trogneau fathered children before he transitioned to Brigitte?
Alors, sur la question de la vie de Jean-Michel.
So on the question of Jean-Michel Trogneau's life, for the moment, it's a dotted one. We know that Brigitte Macron was born Jean-Michel Trogneau on February 11th, 1945, and that she lived under this identity at least until 1963. Then there are two children who were declared by Jean-Michel Trogneau, one named Jean-Jacques Trogneau and the other Valérie. This raises questions of, would this potentially be Brigitte Macron's son? Well, this Jean-Jacques Trogneau looks like a spitting image of Emmanuel Macron. What's all that about?
Do you then have any opinion or view or lead on who was the mother then of Jean-Jacques and Valérie?
Yes, it's a woman.
I know that much.
It's a woman.
Something happened all the way back in February, and I was sworn to secrecy temporarily, and I feel that today is the correct day to inform audiences because it may have some severe global implications. So here is what happened, all right? I realize that Emmanuel Macron is in Washington, D.C., February 24th. He is in Washington, D.C., and he had departed the White House just hours before I received the call. When I call that person back, they tell me something that is even stranger. Emmanuel Macron is holding up negotiations to end the Russian and Ukrainian war unless you stop speaking about his wife.
French First Lady Brigitte Macron is suing American right-wing talking head Candace Owens for defamation in a 219-page lawsuit filed in the U.S. this week. The law firm of Claire Locke announced that, yes, Owens is being sued for claims she's made repeatedly about the entire French First family, including that Brigitte, of course, was secretly a man. And Owens didn't just make these comments, by the way, here in the United States. According to the lawsuit, she made them to an international community, effectively, trying to destroy the image of the French First family to all nations of the world, which they say, of course, has obviously caused them damage. So they're suing her. Let me read you from this lawsuit, because this, I think, is just possibly one of the best lawsuits I've ever read. I love every second of it. They said that Owens worked the far right into a frenzied fan base, all in the pursuit of fame. These lies have caused tremendous damage to the Macrons. Owens has dissected their appearance, their marriage, their friends, their family, and their personal history, twisting it all into a grotesque narrative designed to inflame and degrade. The result is relentless bullying on a worldwide scale. Every time the Macrons leave their home, they do so knowing that countless people have heard and many believe these vile fabrications. It is invasive, dehumanizing, and deeply unjust. These claims are demonstrably false, and Owens knew they were false when she published them. Yet, she published them anyway, and the reason is clear. It is not the pursuit of truth, but the pursuit of fame. After being fired from the Daily Wire, Owens used these demonstrably false claims to promote her independent podcast, Candace. Owens' fan base has grown to 6.9 million followers on X and 4.47 million subscribers on YouTube. So they did, like the lawyers for, was it Claire Locke, did everything you need to do when arguing a defamation lawsuit. Unlike the ones we have seen Donald Trump file, which are just like, this man is the greatest person that ever lived, and anybody who says otherwise is lying, and therefore they should be sued. No. They listed what she said. They talked about the fact, by the way, that also the Macrons had reached out to her personally to try to clear things up. They sent her a cease and desist letter. She ignored it, and according to the suit, she even mocked it on her show. So they did everything they're legally required to do before filing a defamation lawsuit. Owens refused. She would not retract it. Then they list, these are the damages, right? On a worldwide scale, we're subjected to harassment, to bullying, degradation, not being taken seriously as world leaders. All of this is exactly what you have to do in order to win a defamation lawsuit, and they spelled it out perfectly, because not only did they list their damages, they mentioned the fact that she has used this for her own personal financial gain. That's where it's going to come back to bite her. This lawsuit, by the way, Claire Locke, the firm filing it, they're the ones who handled the Dominion defamation lawsuit against Fox News that got them that, $800 million settlement? So they know what they're doing. They're pretty damn good at this. Also, the Macrons have also won lawsuits in the past, as recently as last year, filing defamation lawsuits against people. So you got two winners in this arena versus Candace Owens. It doesn't take Nostradamus to go ahead and predict who's going to come out on top of this one.
I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully prepared to take on this battle. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls. If you need any more evidence that Brigitte Macron is definitely a man, it is just what is happening right now. The idea that you would file this lawsuit is all of the proof that you need. Okay? I have been in communication with their lawyers, or via our lawyers, like their lawyers and my lawyers have been speaking, phone calls, emails since January. They did not send us a copy of the lawsuit. They did not give my lawyer a heads up that they were filing a lawsuit, but they did instead opt to give this lawsuit ahead of time to the Financial Times, the New York Times, CBS News. What does that tell you? It's a PR strategy. They don't care if they win. This is about running it through the press. I found out with all of you. I found out with the world. I found out from the Financial Times that I was being sued by the first couple of France. Not normal, guys. The Financial Times reported that the lawsuit also says, Their filing includes a description of the circumstances in which they met. The president was a 15-year-old student at a Jesuit high school in Amiens when he first encountered Brigitte, then a 39-year-old married teacher with 3 children. So much of that is not true. Again, they're trying to say he's 15, he was 14. According to the filings, they, quote, formed a deeper intellectual connection when she directed a production of the 1971 Milan Kundera play, Jack and His Master, in which Macron played the lead role. And later, the two began meeting regularly to collaborate on another play. Their relationship, quote, remained within the bounds of the law, the filings say. But when the teenager's parents found out about his, quote, strong feelings for his teacher, they moved him to a different school. Before he left, he told her, whatever you do, I will marry you. Dude, you're such a creep. Like, the fact that you're stating this as a defense, and you're not even telling the truth here, okay? Because you can't ignore the facts of how old he was when he was in that play. You just can't. So happy to go through this in court. But do you realize how creepy you are? How creepy this sounds? His parents then took him away because I'm disgusting, right? Because I'm a creep. Because I had power over this student and tried to seduce him, not because I looked like Claudia Schiffer, because I'm just like a creepy old man. Like, that's what happened here. And you stating this is like, oh, it's so disgusting. We're not going to shut up. You're not going to bully us. The discovery alone is going to be out of this world. We would be required to depose President Donald Trump. Same day that you were here, I got the phone call. So what's going on? Which, by the way, he acknowledges that the phone call happened in this filing. You've met your match. I will see you in court.
All right. So that's today's duck. Candace Owens. Now, let me give the caveat here. I do believe that it's creepy. It is. Brigitte Macron looked like the crypt keeper. That's just a fact. You met this woman while you was in school. You developed some type of infatuation with her. Later on in life, you marry her, right? I think it looked pretty bad, but you did nothing illegal based on the findings. Again, we'll see what happened. I chose to put Candace Owens in the duck for today because she's setting herself up to be Alex Jones. That's what's gonna happen to her.
Yep.
She, to die on this hill and put your career on the line for this. You get fired from your job over there with Ben Shapiro because you're talking about the small hats. Ben Shapiro himself is a small hat. What you expect to happen? They got you up out of there. So you said, hey, look, I'm gonna double down, and it worked. You gained a mass following, making millions of dollars. I suspect, just from your YouTube alone. But you say, hey, look, I gotta go all out. I'm gonna say this ugly looking white woman, French white lady, is actually a man. And I'm gonna go on a year-long campaign. That's all I'm gonna talk about. I ain't talking about shit else but that. That's all. I looked at some of her videos. Literally all her videos. She made a whole documentary, Van Cat and Ricardo, about that. A whole documentary. She is fully engulfed in this situation. They told you, hey, look, man, you need to stop doing what you're doing. Gave you start warnings. And you said, look, I'm a triple down. And you got some more millions of followers based off of it. Now your time may be up. And the duck may be seeing about you pretty soon. Ricardo, what you got on it, man?
Yeah, it's a doubling down for me. I don't know if it's really worth it because I saw the whole news report in the past week as well, and I just found it very bizarre and weird. Not for nothing. If we're gonna go, describe, the French president's wife, she doesn't. I mean, and I'm not, particularly. I'm just gonna say, she is not visually appealing, if that makes sense. Based on because based on what we've seen, and we know a French woman, we always get a particular look from, and they always go for the all natural or whatever you want to call it with them. But that whole her face, I've always said, just didn't give me French president's wife. I don't know, but apparently they've known each other for a long period of time when he was going to school. That part I didn't realize was actually accurate or true, but apparently it is. Whatever floats his boat makes him happy. Getting slapped on the plane, millions of people around the world saw the slap. What floats the boat for them works for them. It's not for. But what I'm not understanding here is why Candace feel the need to be doubling down on this. What does she has to gain from all of this is what I'm trying, because she already sunk low by her being terminated and we all saw it in real time. Now you're being sued by the French Republic. France is now suing, or the first lady and first I guess the president is now suing you. The Republic of France is now suing you. So then now what? Like, you're battling to get more MAGA people in your corner. I'm just a little bit confused with the whole narrative of where she's pushing here. But at the end of the day, if she has an end tail to it, then I mean, if she knows what she's doing and she knows how to get out of this, by all means, they go for it, Candace. But I'm just a bit, particularly confused about the whole thing. I just don't know where it's going. I don't know what she has to gain out of this. I don't know if she could, rise from this any more further. And maybe you guys know more about this than me. I don't know. I don't know. I let me just say, I just don't care. That's just me. I mean, who gives a damn if he's a man or if she's a man or a transformer or a scissor community person or alphabet I don't give a damn. Whatever makes Macron happy. He's running a country that's one of the most politically powerful in the world, and he's getting, if allegedly, if it's he has a thing that's like a transformer, and that's what floats his boat. By all means, that floats his boat. Who are you to then be going on and on about what Macron is doing behind closed doors? Again, what someone does behind the closed doors is their business, not yours, Candace. So who cares? But then again, the mega crew, they care about a lot of stuff, and conspiracy theories run amok. So this is nothing new to them. So I digress.
Go ahead, Vancat.
Okay, where do we start with this one? So first of all, this is Candace Owens, number 6 lame duck trash bag human of the week. All right, so it's funny and very highly amusing to me when somebody so ugly like Candace Owens talking about somebody being a man. Like Candace Owens.
Insert Miss Funny looking like a man.
She is looking like a man. Look at that face. Look at that face. She been look like a man. And I'm convinced she is a man, but whatever. So she goes on this whole thing of like, let me attack this person, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why she's so passionate about it. Maybe it hits hard to home because she's a man herself. So she want to go ahead. You know how these Republicans they get all mad about gay people. Huh? Yeah, exactly. They get mad about gay people, and then they pass all these anti-gay laws. When you find out, oh my God, this guy been gay the whole time. This is classic Candace Owens. But Candace Owens, her claim to fame, being a coon, being a house nigger, everything that she does, if I can be a black woman that say all the anti-black things and say all the positive things for whitey, I can have a career in that. That's a lot easier than being a shift supervisor at a store. So let me go ahead and do that. So yeah, but she's trash bag human material all day, every day. Her comments about George Floyd at the time, the justification of him being killed, everything that is pro-black, anything that's just black, period. she is against, and always looking for dollars from Whitey. She's wearing the White Lives Matter with Kanye West. I mean, this is a real deal trash bag human, which, by the way, in recent times, it seems like people forgot about these aspects of Candace Owens. You know, Mr. Owens, I didn't forget. So you're definitely deserving of number 6 variety, trash bag human, lame duck. That's what I got.
I thought you may get a kick out of that one. I'll let you rock out. I'll let you rock out. You know, it is what it is.
It was a
Personally,
superb pick, MD. Superb.
I don't think that she's ugly. I think Candace Owens is quite beautiful. Like I said, you know, everybody got their cup of tea. Yeah, you caught her slipping sometimes. Like you definitely caught her slipping in that other picture. You know, you caught her slipping. She was definitely slipping. Now, I believe that I don't know what she was doing at this time, but remember, at one point in time, Candace Owens was a Democrat. Maybe she was a Democrat in this picture. I don't know. But when she got her MAGA stripes, man, she beautified herself.
Oh,
you know
I
what
see.
I mean? She beautified herself. You know, a lot of them do that. You know, look at Kristi Noem and some of these other. You know, they get into the Republican sphere and they get glamified. You know what I'm saying? So something happened to Candace Owens because at this particular time, she's a beautiful woman. You know, I got to give her a flower. You know, but it is what it is. Now, mind you, remember in the piece, they said that the firm that's representing the Macrones is the same firm that did the defamation case with Dominion on Fox News.
Oh, she's already
$800
lost.
million. So
Exactly.
you think that firm gonna put their reputation on the line? And come to find out, oh, she really is a man. Nah, bro. Nah. The woman got 2 children.
Yep.
The woman got 2 children, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
What are we doing? In a lot of ways, this is worse than Alex Jones because Alex Jones got to a point where he said, hey, look, man, hey, it's all bullshit. Essentially what he said.
Yeah.
Candace Owens said, bump that. I'll see you in court. So, man, if I don't know how long these proceedings are gonna be. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it for you, because if she mess around and lose this case, and essentially lose her life, because that's what's gonna happen if she lose.
Exactly.
Automatic bid in this year's
Top
inaugural
seed.
2025 Duck Cup. Top seed. She gonna be high up there. She's gonna be high up there. So we're gonna keep an eye on it. We're gonna monitor the situation and let you know what's going on with Candace Owens. Again, beautiful woman. I don't know what's up with Van Cat, man. He be tripping. But,
I guess you like it. I guess you like him like that. I just can't. I can't get down with that.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, bro. Hey, that's tonight's show. Good show. This was good. This worked out better than I thought it was gonna work. Again, like I said, my goal wasn't to be raunchy or go out the blue. We stuck within the confines of the political sphere and talked about some pertinent issues. Next week, the finale of the series, Politics of Drug. We're gonna talk about the big pharma. We're gonna talk about fentanyl. Might as well stick legalization of marijuana in there. Why not? And some other things. So we're gonna talk about that, and that's gonna wrap up the series. The week after that, I already done set it up for Ricardo. We bringing it back another classic, The Politics of Blackness.
Yep.
So that's gonna kick off September. That should be a good show, because some of I've been brainstorming it already, and we gonna get down and dirty. But
what better show for some black to be in? Politics of Blackness.
Some black ain't black.
We blackity black.
Some black a Slav is what he is. Who is that? Yeah. So all right. So yeah, that's the show, man. Hey, shout out to everybody that's gonna watch it later. We gonna get it in next week. Like I said, the finale, the politics of drugs. With that being said, man, I'm gonna let y'all give y'all shout out.
All right, so I'll go. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We weren't going for the specific, raunchiness after all, but we can't deny sex is out there. It's everything sells with sex. So Pornhub, get your act together. States, stop trying to get in our privacy because we don't know why y'all need IDs to watch porn. That's just creepy and weird. Shout out to Twin, who's not here, but I know he's here in spirit, for the show. Back at MD, great show. After all, again, I can't applaud you for making Tape Fist Politics too. A great listening and must see viewing pleasure. And shout out to them sexual athletes out there that are doing their thing. Stay safe. We still want to legalize prostitution, and you should be taxed from Uncle Sam. You can't be in this country and not be taxed. Not even Prince Harry and Meghan can get away with that crap. So if we're going to legalize it, we're going to do it right, and y'all should be taxed. With that being stated, great show, and look forward to seeing y'all next week. Stay there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ricardo. So I just want to say I can't believe MD wants to take away my entertainment joy. I can't own Mario. I can't drink Coca-Cola because MD believe if he pays one flat fee that he could just get any garbage that these corporations give him, and that's good enough. But whatever. I'm just saying there should be some integrity about art, and I need to be able to have access to stuff from the past, present, and the future. So, but not MD.
But it's
MD,
not yours to have. It's not yours to have, Van Cat. It's not yours to have, bro.
It's my right to be able to purchase and own what I want to see and what I want to play. That's all I'm saying. Like we kill. No, we're not. We're killing all this art, man. It's getting killed, and oh Lord. Captain Capitalism. Captain Capitalism. Oh man. But MD just taking away my whole childhood. He's taking away my adulthood. He's taking away every hood. I mean, this capitalism stuff is out of control, man. It's just out of control. That's what I got.
Hey man, hey, you'll learn one day, man. It just take you a little bit longer for you to learn. I was born within it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. It's like Bane in the Dark Knight Returns, man. You adopted the darkness, man. I was born in it, bro. So hey, with that being said, man, we gonna get up out of here. I'll see y'all next week. The Politics of Drugs, 8:30 EST PM. With that, I say peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Yeah.